Okay. Hello, friends! The game jam is over, and I have slept for so long since it did. It was so much fun, though. Let's see. Oh, wait. This is good. Yes, it works. Okay. I might have a little bit of lag, though. But, hi! The game jam was an absolute delight. And thanks to everybody who entered and everybody who had a good time in it. Like I was saying during some of the closing ceremony stuff. Hello, Sapphire! Like I was saying during some of the closing ceremony stuff, everybody that entered, I'm proud of. There were some phenomenal games that did great, that were a delight to see. There were some games that needed more time, but the creators took the time and effort to make what they made. Hello, Klumpyzot. They took the time and effort to make what they made, and I'm really proud that they did, because it takes a lot of confidence and a lot of strength to release something, to complete something and put it up, you know? Oh, and yes, this is my 3D model. I feel wonderful. I'm still going to mostly use my regular avatar for most things that I do, but I have a 3D model for situations where it comes into play. Like, if I'm doing a VR game, I might be able to actually have myself in the world. That's a cool thing I can do. Maybe. Hello, Draco! And we also had a few games that were incomplete, and a game jam is a difficult amount of time to make a game. I mean, it's kind of supposed to, right? It's kind of supposed to be a difficult amount of time to make a game. That's kind of the whole thing. The movement is actually just VR chat. The movement of this model this is actually a custom model, obviously, but this is actually a model for VR chat. And right now, I'm actually just straight up in VR chat in Celiana from Monster Hunter World. Because, well, I wanted to do a hot tub stream because, well, hot tub streams are popular on Twitch, and I don't understand why, but... Yay! Aw, sleep well, Draco. Also, I have beans. I just need to see these to be appreciated because they're heckin' adorable. I love them. Tori Floop made the skin for the model, which is absolutely delightful. And the actual model is a Snaggletooth Kobold, which is a creator that deserves much respect. They did a fantastic job. Yeah, this is just going to be a simple chat stream. Like, if you have any questions about the game design, the game jam experience, or what it was like, that's one of the main reasons I'm here. Apart from that, I'm just vibing. I'm just sitting here having a good time. Couple beans. I have like the 17-second chat delay from default YouTube. I really, really wish I could change that on the fly. I don't think I have any way to do that. It's the one button I constantly keep forgetting to press before YouTube streams is the low chat delay. Because I don't know why it defaults to long chat delays. Like, why would you do that? Oh, probably just back end easier for them. Anyways. Hi. Yeah, this is the hot springs in the expansion for Monster Hunter World Iceborne. Monster Hunter World Iceborne being the expansion. Which, by the way, can we talk about that for a second? Like, Capcom is one of the few companies that's actually... Capcom and Firaxis are some of the only companies that's actually willing to put out a full retail expansion right now, and I respect it. I love it. Like for Street Fighter, when they did Street Fighter 4 a little ways back, the Street Fighter 4 Ultimate they released as its own game, or as an expansion for people who had the game. Monster Hunter World, well, traditionally Monster Hunter has had a second release for new content. So they've had Monster Hunter 4, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, Monster Hunter Cross, Monster Hunter Double Cross, Monster Hunter, and so on. And they always release a new game that's a updated, finalized, inclusive game with a lot more content, which is fantastic, and I love it. And not a lot of other companies do that, and I don't know why. Because it seems like a fantastic idea to me. You get a new release window, you get a new button to press that says game release now, which is great for social media, which is great for everything, honestly. And you get the dev team a chance to finalize the concept they might have not have had time to finish during the regular game, during the core game. So there might have been like, bits and ends that they thought weren't necessarily completed. Rise is absolutely going to get an expansion. That's already, that was confirmed day one, actually. It'll be a while. It'll be a hot minute. But yeah, the only other company I can think of offhand that does that is Firaxis. Firaxis makes, Firaxis is the company that makes Civilization and XCOM. And both of those games release full expansions as well. And they work great. And it's strange. I think it's mostly that many dev teams are more willing to chase DLC dollars rather than trying to chase expansion money. But expansion gets so much hype that I feel like it would be worth it for many of them. I'm just sort of going off on a topic until people ask questions or people raise a topic that they want me to talk about, because this is mostly just a chat stream to unwind from the game jam, because I don't know about all of you, but I was hyper throughout the entire thing. I was just absolutely, completely, I have no idea what that did to my mic. I'm on the Vive headset mic, so that probably just completely blew out the mic, and I apologize for all of your ears. If you're on a headset, then I sincerely apologize for what I have just done to you. Most companies release it as a separate title for full price. That sometimes happens too, yeah, but yeah. That can happen. But, yeah, I guess Ubisoft did that a few times with Blood Dragon and arguably Primal. Those were full release games that were initially slated to be DLC content. They just decided, hey, what if we make a whole game out of this? And frankly, I love both of them. Like, okay, here's my hot take for today. Far Cry Primal is phenomenal. Its launch was atrocious. It was literally unplayable on PC for like 3 months. But once they got the bugs ironed out, it's actually my favorite Far Cry game. It's actually just a really good Far Cry game. Like, oh my gosh, I love it, because it's when I play Far Cry as a stealth game, and that's just me. I mean, there's lots of ways to play every game, of course, but I play Far Cry as a stealth game, and the mechanics support it. I play Far Cry 4 and just run around with a bow the entire game. Hooray! And yeah, Far Cry Primal just completely was like, hey, you enjoy these mechanics? Guess what? Here's an entire game with these mechanics, and I'm 1,000% there for it. But yeah, it was completely unplayable on launch. It was absolutely, literally unplayable on launch, which is sad because people remember that because that was the part that hit news media. That was the part that hit the games journalism part of the whole experience. But yeah, just Far Cry game for my playstyle. And then Blood Dragon was just an absolute trip. If you're not familiar, did I forget to do that? Ask ask Connor if you would at Watchers for me. I'd appreciate that. I was so busy setting up the headset and all the jazz. Yeah, there's a lot of games that I played in the jam that I really. Oh yeah, we were watching the Far Cry intros on my Discord channel the other day, and it was a delight. Just Far Cry 4 just is a masterclass in how to write a force of nature villain, because there's different types of villains. There's always has to be some antagonistic force, because frankly, otherwise you don't have a game. If there's no antagonist, even if it's just like entropy or a timer or something of that nature, you don't really have any. You don't have any real game. There needs to be something that builds tension. There needs to be something that provides an antagonizing force. It doesn't have to be an individual. It doesn't have to be a quote-unquote villain, because I can do that. Ha. I can do ha. Arr. God, I love this model. Ah, yes, Diablo 2, Lord of Destruction. Here's a fun fact for you. The expansion for Diablo 1 was not done by Blizzard. The original expansion for Diablo 1 was made by a completely different... Was it Diablo 1 or was it Diablo? No, it was Diablo 1. It was made by someone, a completely different studio. And they did a great job with it. It was just one of the early times where Blizzard actually outsourced an entire development cycle. Ooh. Cool. I didn't realize Ray had... Oh, neat. Yeah, Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction is a great example of an expansion, and Blizzard used to do that. Like, that used to be the... Well, they're also an older company. That was back from the days of... yeah, that was back from the early PC gaming days. Hello, Thresio! That was from early back in the 3D... in the PC gaming days. So back then, expansions were normal, because, yeah, Sierra, Blizzard... all these companies would release full release expansions, and that's just dropped off in the era of DLC, which, yeah, still a shame. Now smaller companies will either do DLC or they'll re-release a game, a special edition, if you will. But that's fine. That's not terrible. Back before Overwatch, what is the impetus of that? What was the first impetus of a big DLC game? Sims 3? When was the death of the expansion pack? That's actually an interesting question. When was the death of the expansion pack? Oh god, I just remembered something. I got a comment. Oh, just a second. I got a comment on my channel a while back saying that the animation of my avatar looked very unrealistic because they thought I was actually like full animating my avatar. Which, first of all, that's adorable that you think that. But it was actually even funnier because, like, now you guys can see this actually is what I do with my head when I'm talking. Like, my head is not on straight. Like, I actually do generally talk and move with a head tilt. Like, that's not just like a character thing or a glitch in the motion cap. Like, no, this is just me. Oh, was it Sierra that did the expansion for Diablo 1? Oh my gosh. There. Was it actually Sierra? Wow. That recontextualizes a couple things in my book, actually. Huh. That's really interesting. God, remember the old Sierra games? They made so many, and a couple of them were quite good. I mean, not all of them. Like, there were a couple Sierra games that were rough around the corners, but they made some fantastic ones too. Hot tub. I wish the water was actually interactable, but it's not. Yo! Hello, garlic! So. Oh, hey, Adam. But yeah, like, there's a lot of expansions that... I want to say it's The Sims. I want to say The Sims is the start of the death of the expansion. Because that's around when I can last... Okay. That's around when I can last really think of expansions like being that the norm instead of like a complete and utter exception to everything. Yeah, I mean, if you guys have a better thought on that process, then I'd love to hear it. Although I suppose many of you are younger than that era of gamer. I am in fact ancient. Oh, my hip. Yeah, I think it was probably around that era that expansions became passé in favor of DLC. Maybe it was some sort of train simulator thing. Hard to say. Yeah, nowadays, Capcom and Firaxis are the only major companies I can think of that still go about it. Yeah, EA is a really interesting study. Like, I'm not going to bash EA because I don't bash things. This is kind of my branding. But I'm not going to completely slam EA for being a bad company or anything of that jazz. Oh yeah, there was a Xenoblade. Xenoblade had the Golden Country as DLC as opposed to a standalone, but they also released it standalone, which is That's pretty cool. I had forgotten about that. That is actually really interesting now that I think about it. Do you think they'll do anything like that for Pokemon? Do you think so? Like, they did the expansion pass, but like that didn't really have the DLC vibes. That's had like, more complete the game vibes. And just for the record, I'm just gonna say this once and try not to spark like a huge debate about it, but we're underpay. We're all underpaying for games. We really are. The cost of a AAA game has been $60 for ever, and money is worth like human money is worth less now. So the cost of like a full release game should be like 80 or 90 based on inflation, but people still slap the $59.99 price tag on it. I don't know. That's a completely separate discussion. That's gonna PS4. Mm-hmm. The line between expansion pack and DLC is in my book is scope. The scope of a DLC is, oh, here's a thing that I can add to my game. Here's a new mechanic or a new concept. Whereas a expansion pack is, here's something that recontextualizes virtually the entire game. Here is new content that affects everything. Here is a complete extra arc for you to experience after you've completed the main game or possibly during. Yeah, examples I can think of are like game packs can add something new to the game, but there's a difference in scope between Isle of Crown adding one zone, one new mechanic, and a good little storyline, and something like Rise and Fall, which adds like a dozen new mechanics and fixes other mechanics in the game, and redoes the AI, and adds new late game progression, and adds a new effects to the World Council. Like it makes the game a new game. And that's one thing I've always thought about Firaxis. Monster Hunter to a lesser extent, but that's one thing I've always thought about Firaxis, is that their games are better, so much better after the first expansion. Stuff packs are for I think expansions got ridiculous when companies would use it to stop players from finishing the game until they bought it. Who did that? Aside from like MMOs, because MMOs are their own separate thing, and we could have like multiple streams about MMOs. I have so many opinions about MMOs. but that's not today. Today is like just kind of just a general vibe chat. But like, I can't think of any games that would stop players from finishing the game until they've played it, until they bought the expansion. I'm curious to know what you're thinking about. It's the only one. Yeah, MMOs do that all the time, but MMOs have concerns. Asura's Wrath. I did not play that game. Interesting. I know Monster Hunter Rise, they're finishing the storyline in the expansion, but that's not like... It's a Monster Hunter storyline. You don't play Monster Hunter for the story. Like, you just don't. The story is entirely coincidental most of the time. Like, only one good Monster Hunter actually has... Monster Hunter actually has a good story. One. And I will make you guess which one I'm thinking of, because you are probably wrong. There's only one Monster Hunter that actually has a good and proper story. With a proper narrative arc. Everything else is just hunting monsters, but like that's okay, because you play Monster Hunter to hunt monsters. I know that might sound wild, but you do. Hello, Juicy. Things are going fantastic. I'm just vibing. We are just having a good time. Yeah, Monster Hunter is... The expansions in Monster Hunter add... Yes, it is Monster Hunter 4. Monster Hunter 4 actually has a proper storyline. And a proper narrative arc for the characters, and a proper resolution, and... World doesn't... It just doesn't. Like, people talk about... Oh, hello, Gabe! People talk about the story in Monster Hunter 4, like, in Monster Hunter World, like... like it exists. Yes, and Guildmarm is the best. So I actually can go on a separate rant about that. Guildmarm's fantastic. Guildmarm is when Monster Hunter actually decided they were going to tell you about why you have everything, how the guild works. Yeah, this is mostly just a general chat stream where I'm answering any questions about the game jam that ended, the Go Godot game jam. But other than that, we're just generally talking about games and game design. I don't know how many people are here for what. If I'm playing a long game, it's for the story. That's reasonable. Yeah, Monster Hunter 4's story actually. Yeah, Monster Hunter 4 in general lays out the universe very well. Like, it explains why you have a handler. The hunters in Monster Hunter have a handler because they take care of all the back-end stuff. The handler is the one filling your box. The handler is the one going around town and asking about who needs help for what, and then taking that information and going to the guild and saying, hey, is it okay if we hunt such and such monster in these conditions? And because the guild will absolutely say no if it's not ecologically sound. Like, Monster Hunter's back end, like the actual back end world design of Monster Hunter has a ton of eco-friendly stuff. Because overhunting is a big problem, and they're afraid that overhunting will lead to changes in the power structure of the monsters. What are you hiding behind the camera? What cave has that lighting? This is Celiana. This is Celiana from the Monster Hunter Iceborne expansion. This is just in VR chat because, well, the most convenient way to mocap a VR model is in VR chat, frankly. Like, VR chat's a real good game. Like, just conceptually from the design up, VR chat is a real good program. And I don't use VR chat to talk to people. Like, I know that I'm totally gonna sneeze in a moment. I'm totally yes. Oh, you came in here on accident to searching up Kobold mod for Minecraft. Oh, well, nice. That's awesome. I am in fact a kobold. It's true. So, where was I? I was saying words. Oh, yeah, right. Monster Hunter World is like all the Monster Hunter worlds, plural, not the specific game, is very eco-friendly. So the handler goes to the townspeople and gets the quests, goes to the guild to see if those quests are viable and tenable for the ecosystem around the area, gets the authorization, goes back to you and offers you your quests. So it's not just, hey, here's a list of missions, take your pick. It's, okay, so this person wants you to take down a Brachiodos because it's blocking their trade lines, but we can't do that, so we're going to go slay the Rathian, then we're going to try and bait the Brachiodos back into there. You don't need to worry about anything about that. Go hunt a Rathian. That's your quest. Just go hunt a heckin' Rathian. Done. And, like, the Guild Marm in Monster Hunter 4 actually acted that way and told you about, like, hey, I got some extra nullberries, they'll be in your crate, make sure you eat them because they're about to spoil, or like actually talk about that kind of stuff, like actually talk about the world design. And I personally am from the old school of science fiction. I love Asimov. I love all the classic Asimov stuff, and Asimov has a ton of fantastic essays. If you want to become a writer, look up Isaac Asimov's essays on writing and writing science fiction. They're great. They're fantastic. I love them. But anyways, one of his concepts is that the world is a character. When you are creating a fantasy world or a science fiction world, the world itself is one of your characters. You need to build that character and give them as much development as you give any other character, because the world is why people are playing your game, why people are reading your book, why people are watching your movie. And it's true. Like, it's so true. Like, all the classics, the Lord of the Rings, Foundation, and all their derivatives, which is, let's be honest, 90% of gaming, are, take that concept of the world building that was done by Tolkien or that was done by Asimov. It's great. Let me see if I can... Bum, bada, bum, bum. There we go. I have you guys chat right here so I can actually see stuff. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. I've never played Minecraft. It's true. I have never actually played Minecraft. I should. I'm actually. Here's my goal. I don't know. I want to find another VTuber who's also never played Minecraft. If one exists, like I might be the only person in in the world who hasn't played Minecraft. It might just be me, but I want to find another VTuber who's never played Minecraft, and then do a collab where we both are just the absolute worst at Minecraft. It'll be hilarious. Just following chat and just being like, "Wait, what's this?" Or how, just the genuine confusion would be hilarious. And I'm not against it. Like I'm fine to play. I just never really got into it. I just never really tried it. So I think I would be down for that. If you guys know any VTubers who have never played Minecraft, tell them to message me. Oh, I just freeze while I'm processing what to do. I don't know if that's my model. like. mm. I think another element which highlights what you're saying is the modern day is the power of fan content. Yeah, fan content is very powerful and can use the world as a canvas. I like that. I like that phrasing. Use thrive when the world itself provides a canvas. And when it doesn't provide a canvas, fan creators will make their own. Like fan creators will make their own. They'll fix the canon, if you will. Like I'm just thinking of all the coffee shop universes, alternate universes you have in Tumblr and things like that. Yeah, no, if there is fan content, it is good. Mm-hmm. And yeah, games, in the game industry, there is some thriving on that as well. Like you want to. How can I phrase this? The game's equivalent would be mods. Allowing mods and allowing the freedom of mods gives your game longevity. And trying to control that freedom can be a golden goose. And you might kill the golden goose if you restrict people's ability to have free mods. That's something that Bethesda has struggled with many times. Because, Skyrim would have never been as popular. It would have been popular. It's a good game. It's a fine game. Look, we'll be here all day if I start talking about Skyrim and its concerns and how its development and how it's changed throughout its history. So put that in the stack of other streams. Anyways. It would never have stayed popular. It would never have actually exploded if people couldn't make their own content. If people couldn't add their own stuff. And I'm not talking about stuff like, Macho Man Randy Savage mods. I'm talking about, the things that started out as bug fixes and then things that added reskins and textures that added more to the world and made the world more enjoyable to go back to. More content, more happiness to experience. Does that make sense? And some of those expansions, some of those mods, genuinely add to the world. Aside from the superficial way that they add to the world by just being more content, being more world, I'm thinking specifically of Inigo. If you've modded Skyrim, you probably know at least of Inigo. He's one of the most popular mods. Fully voice-acted Khajiit companion that has his own voice lines in most of the story-related scenes. And his commentary functions as just a second Dragonborn. Like he is the Dragonborn's companion. Obviously, that's his job. But he acts as a foil to you. You are kind of like the impervious hero that everybody reveres or at least answers to. Even when they don't answer to you, they still kind of answer to you just because that's the way a lot of first-person games are designed. A lot of RPGs are designed of modern era. And Fallout New Vegas is phenomenal. I'll talk about that in a sec. I'd love to. Yeah, but Inigo talks from the perspective of of an outsider. He works as that fish out of water that the character only can be so much of, and his existence as your companion doesn't just give you an extra bow, it makes the main quests better because he acts like a friend and wants someone who just is compassionate to you. And that works really well. And then there's a lot of, shifts, and Fallout New Vegas. Yeah, the mods in Fallout New Vegas is phenomenal as well. But yeah. But you can add a lot to the game, and if you try to monetize all of your mods and all of your users' creation, you can be really stuck because you can stifle that creativity. You can make people say, well, I don't want to pay for this, so I'm not going to enjoy your game more. I'm not going to enjoy your game more because any barrier of entry is too high for me to jump over. Barrier of entry for downloading Macho Man Randy Savage as a dragon? Virtually none. Barrier of entry for adding bug fixes that and user-created content that helps your game? Virtually none. Signing up for a service and having to spend, $10 on a mod or even 99 cents on a mod, the act of signing up can be enough of a barrier. I mean, yeah, it can just be a lot of concern, a lot of it can add an emotional barrier more than the actual barrier. Anybody can sign up, and just about anybody can drop 99 cents on a mod. That's true. But the act of signing up creates an emotional barrier that many people won't cross. This is something that you hear talked about in mobile games a lot. Mobile developers will go on about this for hours. The difference between a free-to-play player and a player... Feel free to ask any questions about the cave. This is a nice place. Heck, I can probably show you around if you want, if you guys really care. Modding should be free anyways. Charging for more should be a choice. The modded words. I can understand some people. I mean, some people who want their mods to make money. But yeah. Oh, those are easy questions. Here we go. Let's do a quick walk around. Water's flowing from these peaks over here, just from a stream of, and here you can see that where the sun's coming from. See, beautiful sunset. Yeah, that's the cave. There we go. There we go. Autocorrect is indeed a pain. Walking. I do walk. I am known to walk on occasion. Here's a lie. How can that be? Am I a lie then? Oh no, what if I'm a lie? Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the game jam that I really want to see full release. Oh, that's probably what I wanted to mention regarding Skyrim. There was a mod. What was it called? Heck. There was a big narrative-focused mod that added an entire new region, and it looked really cool. The shading is well done. Thank you. I mean, the actual shading is the texture was done by Torifloop, who's over on Twitch. Yeah, twitch.tv/Torifloop, TORIFLOOP. They're a delight. They're fantastic. I will dance for you. That's my dance. That's all I got. I can't dance without arrows. Put arrows on the ground, I can dance fine. No, without them, nope, I'm out. Can't do it. Not possible. What was I saying again? Wait, heck. Forget. Oh well. No, oh, that's right. Yeah. No, it wasn't Elsphere. It was some time traveling cavern where you jumped down and you had to travel back to the past to change to change the present. And then the mod team was like, "Hey, we finished this mod. We released it. It's beautiful. It's fantastic. This should be its own game." So they took it off the mod store, or the mod downloads, and made it in Unity as its own standalone game and released it. And like, cool. They learned how to mod. They learned how to write. They learned how to tell a story and make a story narrative through gameplay. And then they were like, "Hey, we made a game. Why don't we make a game out of it?" Which is great. Like that's fantastic. And then they made their own game and they really launched it. And I mean, I think I bought it. I think it's in my library. I had already played through the mod version, but I think I bought it just to support them. Because like the concept of that is fantastic. The idea is, hey, making a mod is tough, but you know what else? But like, it's easier than making a game nowadays. Back in the day, like making a mod now, making a mod back in the day is more like making a game now, since the tools are so much better for making a game. But yeah, like if you have the skills to make a mod, consider making a full release. Like that's definitely something that's within the developing skill set that you're working on, and you have some audience if you make a decent mod, if you make a playing on there. This is not answer my flowing question. I've seen the angle. Water appears to flow from under the rocks. Yeah, water flows from under the rocks. There are no sources seen apart from the waterfalls in the opposite escape. Yeah, water flows through rocks and down rocks and seeps beneath. Like that's fluid dynamics. Like, yeah, that's not uncommon. Out of all games in the in-game jams, let's been first, or going in order. Without naming any, some developers seem afraid that the mod community will show them up, so that for the next game DLC there will be complaints about why they can't deliver on the same level of quality. So, like, real talk here. I don't see that's a bad thing. If you make a game and the community that you've created loves you enough that they're willing to take your game and mod it, you need to love them back. You made a good game. You made a game that drives passionate people to work for free. You've created such a good game that you've temporarily overturned capitalism. Like, yes, do it. Let your fans do it. Love, look at what they make and maybe incorporate some of their options into it. Like, yeah, absolutely. I see nothing wrong with anything that you're saying. They're afraid the mod community will show them up. Get shown up. Be willing to. That to me reeks of pride. Pride. That's the word. Pride. The bad kind. Like, oh no, my community will make something better than I can make. Okay. Let them make it. Thank them. Problem solved. Like, I don't see how that could be a bad thing. You have people talking about your game. You have people loving your game. You have people who are passionate about your game to create stuff, and then, oh golly, they created something better than I did. Cool. Take some elements of that in a way that's not just ripping them off, in a way that's actually taking the concepts and work it into your next project, because clearly that's something that people are passionate about it. And you can take that in like Skyrim, or take that like Bethesda could absolutely learn from their modding community. There's tons of mods that should become full features in their games but aren't. I missed a bunch of stuff. Out of all the games in the game jam, which do you think has the most hope for improvement? I just responded to the developer on Twitter. I forget what the name is off the top of my head. Heck. But there was one where your character is being controlled as if you were playing a Zelda-style game, and you can drop a turret. It's a plant that grows up because that was their interpretation of growth. But that was the concept of having a character where you can't drop, where you don't have an open attack yourself, where you exist as an engineer, effectively as a creature that can create. That's a really cool concept, and I can see so many places for growth. Like, think about every RPG Zelda style, classic Zelda style, 2D Zelda I should say, weapon, and being able to incorporate that into a tower and dropping the tower, and still having to protect yourself, but still having to aim the tower. Like, there's enough going on there to keep the brain active. If you have hotkeys for different skills that for your plant for your tower, then you can change them based on the needs of the situation. Maybe some attack linearly, maybe some attack vertically, maybe some do a slower attack that can miss occasionally but do more damage. Like, there's so much room for design. There's so much developmental room in that concept, and it's a twist on the formula. Like, there's 1,000 Zelda games. There are, and most of them are trash. Like, let's be honest. There's a lot of Zelda games, and most of them are trash. But a good concept can carry the game. Like, you can take a new concept like that and work so much into it. You can knead that into the foundation of the game and do things with that you couldn't do in a regular Zelda clone. And I think that has potential. I really do. Because even in the short time playing it, I was looking at my character and looking at the enemies, controlling my character with one hand and controlling the tower with the other. And I was forcing my brain to split and do multiple things at the same time, which was engaging, which just drove my engagement of it. And, like, it wasn't the best game I played, not by a long shot. There were some phenomenal games. It's not the most innovative idea. I mean, it's not, there's other games that have done similar things. But the way it was implemented and my thought process on what it could become and all the cool stuff that they could do with it, I think is fantastic. Like, I really hope that they make that into a full game, because there's so many places they can go with it. Remember when Counter-Strike was just a mod for Half-Life? Same! Haha, you're old. After that, Blue Shift got an official release, and that's how we got. Oh, yeah, yep. Yeah. No, I was actually. Can I say this? Can I say this? Okay. I actually played Counter-Strike semi-professionally back in the mod days. That was a long time ago. Very long time ago. We're talking like AS Forest was a map old. Bring back AS Forest. That's all I ask. It's a terrible map in the context of Counter-Strike, but it's such a good map. Anyways. The ultimate goal of any well-meaning dev: temporarily overturn capitalism. Yes. Like, yeah, I mean, if you make a game good enough to drive people to find joy in the simple act of creation without requiring a profit motivation or a survival motivation for it, then you've driven somebody to passion. Then you've created something that drove another person to be passionate about what they love, rather than just following what they need to do to survive. And that's really heckin' hard these days. Like, jokes and memes and politics aside, like, yeah, if you can create a passionate individual about something that you create, that's kind of the dream, isn't it? It's the dream of an actor. That's the dream of a game developer. The idea of, like, actually moving somebody with your work, by actually making somebody passionate and care about something that you've created. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. And water is great. Don't worry about it. Notice that your 3D model has a different clothing design than your 2D model. Any reason for that? So, yes. The short version is that this is not a completely custom 3D model. I got a 3D model that would work for me, and then made some modifications to it. So as a result, I have this shirt and corset, which is color scheme matches, the body markings match, and then I can take these off and just vibe out in the in here. I have this cute top, which is absolutely adorable, and I love it. And, like, I want this in real life. I want this tank top in real life. This is adorable. I love it. And I have a hoodie, because why not? It was included in the pack. Like, it just needed some simple modifications to get it to work on this rig. So we decided, you know what? Yeah, no, I'll take a hoodie. Sure, cool. Why not? It was basically already here. So yeah, I will someday get a. So in the near future, Remexin is going to be. Yes, very much so. In the near future, Remexin is going to be finishing my reference sheet. At which point I'm going to have this visual model adjusted a little bit just to make sure it matches Remexin's design. And what was I going to say? Oh yeah. That I might work more on a 3D model, but I'm not too worried about it since this is mostly just going to be for chat streams, which I think this is fantastic for. And I know there's some ways to get in VR games and put a third-person camera out like this and let you see any model that I import. Like if I could be playing Half-Life Alyx and you could actually see me as Jade, which would be phenomenal. And I have the software, I just haven't used it. I just don't know how. But there's a few. Yes, this is the Snaggletooth model. That is absolutely correct. This is the Snaggletooth Kobold with modified texture. Mm-hmm. That way, this is this is licensed. But exactly the overcoming of capitalism is seen as the problem. Humans are weird. That's why? Like, why is that a problem? You're driving somebody to passion. Like, I don't know. As somebody who's been an artist for in some form, like I can't draw 2D art. I'm a terrible 2D artist. Anybody who's seen my art can confirm. If you guys really, really want me to do an actual drawing stream, just know what you're getting yourself into. Just know what you're getting yourself into. But it's bad. It's real bad. But anyways. But as somebody who has been an artist, for most of for their entire life, that's the goal. The goal is to drive emotions. The goal is to make someone smile or laugh or cry or to instill your thoughts and and hopes and dreams into somebody else. Like the whole reason I'm here is because I know that there are people out there who enjoy watching me and who smile and that I can make happy. Like that's why I'm here. So yeah, the overcoming of capitalism is seen as a problem. It might deter people from buying DLC. It's not a problem. Like that, the game designers who are artists, which is most of them, should want that. And yeah, like I said before, you can risk killing the golden goose if you don't. Pokemon friends, yeah, getting showed up is just an emotional concern that they have. That's something that they need to. That's just an internal problem that they need to think about. Pokemon, for instance, is very aggressive about fan games and ROM. Okay, that's slightly different than modding an RPG. Fan games do something different with your intellectual property. That's different. How can I describe this? If I am playing Skyrim and I have a cool sword that is not in Skyrim, okay, no problem, no harm, no foul, and everything's fine. If I'm playing Skyrim and someone adds 30 more dragons into Skyrim of different types, so that instead of just regular dragon, like 3 types of dragons, you have fire dragons, ice dragons, acid dragons, Draco Lich. That's fantastic. I love it. Like that, you're still playing Skyrim. You're just adding to the game. If you are playing Skyrim and all of a sudden you're playing an entirely different game, that's a different situation. Fan games absolutely can hurt the intellectual property of a company. That's why Pokemon Company is so aggressively, and Nintendo, like the best example I can think of is the fan remake of Metroid 2. Nintendo stopped that the day it was released because they had a Metroid 2 in early development, And yeah, a fan remake of Metroid 2 actually does hurt their bottom line. Like that's a genuine I'm losing money because this thing exists and is using my intellectual property. So like I get it. I do. But that's different from modding. Like if I'm playing, I don't know, let's say I'm playing Pokemon Sword and Shield and I mod in something that was either cut and dex or I mod in a bloody Digimon because I want a Digimon in my party. I'm still buying and playing the Pokemon game and then adding a mod to it. That's different from a complete fan-made Pokemon game. You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense? But yeah, I think the protecting of the intellectual property or in losing revenue makes sense for complete fan creations from the ground up, but not for mods. Mods don't have that problem. So I see where you're coming from. If that's what your brain mind was thinking, I see where you're coming from. Oh wait, hold on. Water's weird. Partner and I are talking about Mushies too. Once I finish the ending of the first one, do you have any advice? Mushies was the tile-based one. Yes. I have a lot of advice for that game. There was a lot of I saw a lot of promise in that game. The biggest one that I can think of is when you change the tiles, actually have the tiles lift up, move, and drop, or slide up, and then have one slide off the top of the screen and slide it in the bottom. Like actually make it look like a sliding puzzle, because that will add that simple act, which I don't think is that hard to do in Godot, will completely change the way that people. That's actually a really good question. I'll answer that in a second. Brain thinking, lizard brain, stop making think do. Yeah, so best thing I can say is make the tiles move when the player moves them instead of having them teleport into new positions. Because that's what your game does, is that concept of shuffling around those tiles, make that feel visceral, make that feel connected to the player. Like, there's feedback. It's feedback. You know, there's a great story about Wolfenstein. The new one, the Wolfenstein 2016? I don't know, whatever the new Wolfenstein was. Someone look that up. There's where the team made a shotgun. They made a shotgun sound effect that actually sampled a real shotgun, and they were playtesting it, and then people were like, "Shotgun just doesn't sound impactful. I don't like it." Yeah, we'll have to go back. Just go back to the drawing board on it. And then the dev said, "Hold on. I have another shotgun model, sound effect. Right? I have another shotgun. Yeah, right here. Don't worry about. No, hold on. I got another one for you to test." He went to his computer, and he took the same sound effect and really quickly boosted the bass by triple, and said, "Here, okay. I have a new the other shotgun we were thinking about using. Try this one and tell me what you think." They play with it for 10 minutes and go, "It's fantastic. Yeah, use this one." Just because it felt more visceral, it felt more impactful in the world. It felt more. It felt, yeah. Visceral is really the best word I can think of to say it. It's. That's what I think what Mushies needs. Mushies needs that visceral feeling of that the tiles sliding around instead of just going boink boink. Like actually add a sound effect where it goes shh and shuffles around. You can sample that. Don't sample that. Oh yeah, I forgot to do the whole spiel. If you are interested in a comfy and wholesome Discord server for uplifting you and friends, it's links in the description. If you want to tip me or buy me a coffee or a drink, there's a donation link in the description. That's not related to the game jam. That's just for me. $5 is the equivalent of a sub on Twitch. If you want to contact me for anything professional, voice acting, mocap, or game design, I have a professional contact link in my YouTube's About page. Anyways, where was I? Yeah, that's what I think that would do that mushies could really use is a more visceral feeling to the child shifting, and then everything else is just fixing the algorithms and making sure that the algorithms work, better, making sure that you're maybe at a dotted line so that you know what path they're going to take, and because sometimes that can be a little unclear. Where was I? I was. Where would playing an Oblivion mod in Skyrim land? Because if Skyrim, if Bethesda was going to re-release Oblivion, then that absolutely would be the equivalent of something untoward. Then they should absolutely say, okay, we're remaking Oblivion, so you need to stop because otherwise that's going to hurt our bottom line, and you need to respect that. That's our intellectual property, and we don't want you making a new game out of this. If Bethesda's not planning on releasing a new version of Oblivion, then it's just saying, okay, maybe more people will buy Skyrim to play Oblivion now. Skyrim's worth more money and we have it on more platforms, so that's a good thing. That's people engaging with our own intellectual property more, and that's a good thing. This builds more hype about us and our company, so that's a good thing. So you know what? Sure, go for it. So I think that's where that lands. If they have an Oblivion rework or reboot in the works, then it's bad, and they rightly should say no. That's our intellectual property. We need people to have not played Oblivion within the past couple of years and be nostalgic about it, so that we can release that game. Part of the reason I think this is because I try to think of small game companies doing the same thing. Like imagine a small game company saying, "Hey, we're going to release a new Talos principle, and we need you to stop, working on your project because that's going to affect us." Like all of a sudden, it's like it makes more sense in my mind to think about how the same rule would affect a small company, while still being ideologically consistent with myself while I'm thinking about big companies. So like, I'm fine with laughing at the big companies and making fun of EA, but all day long. But the fact of the matter is that the same rules do apply to everybody, and if you wouldn't push this onto a indie studio, then you have to question the ethical stance of and say, why is it different to apply this to a larger studio? And it is some different to apply it to a larger studio, but you need to think about where that issue comes from, and if there is a line, then you have to decide on where the line's going to be. Like, okay. Begs the question of why the translation for Mother 3 is allowed to exist. That's actually fair. That's a fair question. I don't know. For Pokemon, it's also that fan content and mods might not be family friendly. That's true. That is a very good point. That's protecting your intellectual property from another angle. The mods, if the mods are not family friendly, then you raise people. That's the GTA problem. Remember, like the hot coffee thing in GTA, where you actually had to mod the game to get access to it, and that was a mod that hurt the reputation of GTA, and it helped the reputation of GTA in the long run, let's be honest, but regardless, the concept of it was that, hey, this is not actually from the game, but it kind of is. And how does that file into everything else? That's intellectual property protection. I get it. You don't want a family-friendly, intellectual property to fall into the hands of the vileness of the internet. Where were we? Yeah, pathfinding line would definitely help it. Yeah, for sure. Water is fantastic, and it works. It works exactly like this. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You just might not be good at water. Maybe like, if you considered that. And if you want an actual answer, like, not that I think the question is being asked in good enough faith to deserve one, but if you want an actual answer, it's because this is a part of Celiana that the player is never supposed to be able to get to. So the water effects up here are only exist to be visible from a different angle where they make more thematic sense. That's literally it. Like, that's it. I'm in a part of the map that you should. ASAP, how dare you? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I think it'd be cool if fan games would sometimes be, instead of killed by companies, ask if they like to monetize it. Sega does that. Sega has done that multiple times. Has done that a couple times actually. Sega has actually come to their to fan game creators and say, "Hey, want to make this official?" And gone ahead with it. Like, that's actually pretty great. Oh God, are we talking about intellectual property law here? Because, oh boy, I think we are. What's my stance on intellectual property? What would you change about the current system if you could? Everybody who works in game design, marketing, or content creation on a YouTube or Twitch platform needs to watch the Tom Scott 40-minute video about why copyright about copyright. Like, just Google search Tom Scott copyright. You'll see a video that's, I think it's either, I forget how long it is. You'll see one of his longer videos. Watch it. That will explain a lot about modern copyright law in a context that is important to us both as game developers and to content creators. I just want to take that as a foundation. I'll give a more full answer. Don't worry, but I just want to establish that first, because that video really helped me recontextualize and understand how copyright law was actually working. I am in fact winning. I am winning so very much right now. But let me see here. Let me see. But as far as that goes, what would I change about the current systems? I'm going to be honest. If you want to build a new foundation, you must first tear down the walls. We need a new copyright system, and we need one from scratch. Like, our current copyright system was never designed at any point with the assumption that an individual could create something that would be seen by millions. Like, our current copyright system was designed around the idea that books need publishers, magazines need subscriptions, and the local guy selling a newspaper for a farthing has a full-time job. Like, that's the problem, is that the entire system from the ground up is assuming that everybody has access to a legal team. Like, it was just never designed for the idea of an individual creator. I think that the UK has it pretty well handled, conceptually, not yet, but conceptually with their small user board, and I think it's a great idea. But yeah, to build a new foundation, you must first tear down the walls. And I see somebody saying anarchy. Yes, I am quoting Permanent Revolution, from Catch-22. We're not getting into that. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Don't worry. Anyways. Okay. Where's another thing I can talk to? Let's okay. Anyways. Now, okay. I'm used to talk to people online through text, so I don't know how to talk to streamers. We're people too. I mean, people is a broad term, of course, but you don't need to. Yeah. I understand your reasoning, though it's fair to make allowances for independent devs while holding larger companies to a higher standard because of the power of resources they have. I agree with you conceptually, but if you're establishing that there is a different set of laws for this company and this company, then you have to be willing to say, here's the line. You have to be willing to say, okay, where's the line? Why does this company have to do that and this company does not? Why does this development team need to follow a different set of rules today than when they make a different profit threshold tomorrow? Like, that's the hard part about that. If your emotional understanding of intellectual property and copyright law is dependent on how popular something is, then you have already established that there is a line, and now the question I have to ask you is, where is it? And if it's not a hard line, what can you do with it? Like, you need a hard line, because otherwise you can't make any laws about it. You can't do anything with legal foundations with it. So I understand where you're coming from, and I don't disagree with your philosophy. Like, I don't disagree with the general stance. But to stay philosophically consistent, you need to be able to, well, put some rules, put some ground rules in place. And our current system just doesn't allow for that. It just doesn't. Our current system doesn't allow for that. It doesn't. Did I say hello to Servite yet? I think I said hello, friend. Probably. I don't know. Hello to everybody who is here and joining and who is awesome, and I appreciate all of you. If this is going over your head, don't worry about it. This is mostly a game dev stream, so like I have there's a lot of people in here who are more familiar with intellectual property law and stuff. Don't worry, just let it wash over you. Like we're still, I'm not going to be dwelling on that for any longer. We're just chilling and having a good time. But those are my thoughts on intellectual property. And water flows like water. I mean, that's just how water works. I don't make the rules. Edison took advantage of patents and copyright in that way. Yeah, and he's not the only one. There are still Edisons and copyright and patent trolls to this day. Any updates made since then were designed by those who already have Disney. Just say Disney. We all know it's Disney. Like they know it's Disney. I know it's Disney. You know it's Disney. People, the people who are in power and control copyright law is Disney. What is the length of copyright? The length of copyright is how old the original set of Disney movies are. That it has been for the past 70 years. Like every single time, the early Cinderella and the early Disney movies, Snow White, come up for public domain review, all of a sudden public domain and copyright law changes. it's just how it do. It's copyright law is Disney, and well, I don't have a seat at Disney's table, and neither do you. And you got to remember that. I mean, my personal beliefs on that is like public domain is necessary for a healthy society. Like, how many movies are based off of Robin Hood or like Hamlet or these other concepts? And game designs already have a bit of that freedom because you can make a platformer. Imagine if all platformers were copyrighted by Nintendo. Imagine the concept of platforming was copyright Nintendo. How absurd would that be? Like, imagine if you couldn't copy genre conventions. Game industry would be dead. Game industry would have been dead 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 60 years ago. It would have never started. So like the idea of being able to use somebody else's work and build on it is like just so core to who we are as game devs. Just you have to. And JZDs are cute. Just assume I'm always doing this because real talk, I am. This is just what I'm doing in general. I'm still going to mostly be streaming with our. I'm still going to be streaming mostly with my Live 2D model just because, well, I love it. But yeah, no, real talk. This is just how I talk and move and stuff. People are hard to talk to. That's fair. That's fair. There have to be clear rules, is what it boils. Yeah, exactly. And the current set of rules are broken. And yeah, again, Tom Scott, copyright video. Watch it. If you're in any sort of game development or YouTube content creation at in any of those spheres, or Twitch streamer or any of them, you need to watch it. You just need to. Can we also talk about the fact the original voice actress had to sign a contract that essentially copyrighted her voice for Snow White? Yeah, I mean, yeah. She had to acknowledge that she did not have ownership over her performance, which nowadays is normal, but that's kind of a rough situation to be in. Like, how can you say, hey, you don't own the thing that you did? Well, isn't that kind of normalized now? Isn't that kind of, like, normalized right now? If you think about it? You don't own the work that you do. Well, no, of course I don't. I mean, I do. Like, just because I'm making my own stuff. I technically own the intellectual property rights to my stuff, but I do not own the intellectual property rights for this rock. This rock is owned by Capcom. They could destroy me. I mean, but seriously though, like, yeah, I'm at YouTube's whims because I make content on YouTube. And I mean, I can't even make money off it until I hit 1,000 unless someone starts donating. But like, I'm not even making money. I'm just doing this because I want to spread joy and make people happy. And so far, I think I'm doing okay at it. But if you're working for a studio, your studio owns your intellectual property. If you are working for a team, the intellectual property is probably owned group by everybody in the team. And that is just, can be tough. Especially if you want to make things like... it can be tough to handle. Just like, even just emotionally, it can be tough to say, I don't own the fruit of my work. But now we're getting back into now we're getting back into ska music. Oh. I try to give good vibes. I genuinely do. Like, I just want to make people happy. I just want people to be happy and enjoy stuff that I do, and I want to bring people emotion. Like, I want people to feel emotions when I'm working on things, I guess is one way to put it. And the emotion I usually go for is joy, obviously, but like, when I was playing a Lion Song, like, I as a player was overcome with emotions multiple times because that just spoke to my heart. And I know that there are people who would not play the game, and I know that there are people who would watch me play the game. So I feel like, in a way, I was signal boosting their work. And if a game ever came to me and said, hey, we don't want you to do this because people are getting most of the experience and not buying it, I mean, that one I got for free because of Epic Thursday, so I don't worry about hurting their sales. Though for some small studios, I kind of sometimes worry that I do. Like Ghost 1.0, I do worry that maybe I actually am hurting their bottom line by streaming it. I genuinely don't know. But that's just something that I think about in my brain meat things. I would love to compose a song based on the busy... Aww. That would be adorable. In VR, I have no idea what to do with my hands, so I just want to wave them around while playing in Rec Room. That's fair. I mean, I actually have some mask acting skill, so I kind of interpret that, but honestly, this is mostly just natural. This is mostly just how I do things. When you consider the designs from the early Disney movies like Snow White and Seven Dwarfs and that were heavily borrowed from German artists, the whole thing becomes a lot more complicated and painful to think about. Yep, it sure do. It sure do be like that. Because, I mean, yeah, Disney used public domain. Disney used public domain all the time. Like, that's kind of their whole thing is, for, half the company's history, their entire concept was to take public domain ideas and be like, hey, what if I got an idea. I got an idea. What if we, I got an idea. What if we just make Robin Hood? Yeah? Because Robin Hood is like, just anyone can do it. It's just an old story. What if we make Robin Hood and make them all furries? What if we make Sleeping Beauty, but profit from it and make it so that nobody else can make Sleeping Beauty? What if we take this public property and say, hey, it's ours now? That's Disney. I mean, that's Disney in a nutshell right there, ain't it? Oh, you give all the good vibes. Aw, thank you. I appreciate that. Basically how I felt doing VTubing. Not in Italy for the month. I see what you meant, but it's funnier this way. This is funnier. Not in Italy for the months. And yes, Nicole is best girl. Oh my gosh, that scene absolutely demolished me. Although the scene that actually got me the most, if you've been following me for a little while now, is the first tree. That's the stream where I actually broke down crying on stream, because the realization that what somebody else wrote moved me, and this realization that what I wrote would move somebody else just shook me to my core. And yeah, no, if you want to see a kobold crying on stream, there it is. Aw, thank you, Maro. I'm looking for emotional, engaging content is better looked towards the indies nowadays. Agree. I mean, there's some exceptions. There are some exceptions, of course, but yeah, indie studios are willing to do. They're willing to push boundaries in the way that the AAA studios simply aren't. Indie studios are willing to push the boundaries, and that doesn't work with my. Oh, okay. This model doesn't sit well. I actually have a Kinect for tracking for legs, but it doesn't work fantastic. I should probably work on that sometime. Get that to run better instead of being weird. If I was actually making more, I might spend the money to put on pants before I get bent. No, I'm Daffy Ducking it. Okay, so here. Okay. I actually have the option to put underwear on this model, but it actually makes me look more lewd. Like, the underwear actually makes it look lewd in a way that not having underwear doesn't. Like, this is just, wholesome Daffy Duck style comedy. This is lewd. Okay, we're not doing that again. Do not say clip, I swear. Ah! Heck. Where'd it go? There we go. I push a button. There we go. What was I? What was I going on? Sorry, lizard brain. Oh yeah, pants. What was I? I feel like I had some other thought that I was thinking in my brain meat, but it's gone away now. So some of the next games up on the list are already decided. I'm going to be finishing A Hat in Time, and I'm going to try and finish Ghost 1.0. That game's been strange because, like, somehow it's been weirdly popular, but not a lot of people are watching it live. But a strangely high number of people are actually watching the the videos for it afterwards. It's like, hey, if people are enjoying it, I'm enjoying it. That's fine. We can keep going on it. I was actually initially planning just doing it in one video and then dropping it just as a little showcase of, hey, check out this thing that's been in my Steam library for like 6 years and I've never played it. But then people were enjoying it, so I'm going to try and continue on it. But Hat in Time, which is a delight. But then I'm going to be getting into some more... not... How to phrase. There was a new game that came out on Steam today. Beast? No. Heck. A noir detective game that looks adorable and fun that I think would be a really good fit for the channel. And I know I'm going to be doing Horizon Zero Dawn in the near future, but before then, I'm going to be trying to do I'm going to be doing Sniper Contracts. Because I've been looking forward to playing that game for a while, and the new one just came out, so I'm going to stream that. It's a stealth game, so it'll mostly just, be chatting while running around stealth. I like stealth games because I like sniping games because sniping games are actually puzzle games in disguise. I was talking about this in my Discord before, but a good sniping game is a stealth game first, and as a puzzle game first, a stealth game second, and a first-person shooter third. Really. It might not be considered an emotional game, but Valheim made me feel a lot while playing, just sneaking through the woods in a rainstorm. I thought about doing Valheim. I kind of want to focus on the channel more on narrative experiences, like actual stories, as opposed to, the open world genres. But Valheim does look amazing, and if you like that style, you should absolutely play it. I would probably only do Valheim on the channel if I had a collab, if somebody wanted to play Valheim with me. That would be fun. But I don't know, it's not the kind of game I would usually play on my own. I definitely have questions. Yeah, Ghost is a blast. I have questions about the story. I've done a little bit of Backbone. forget what I said that evolving backbones. Please clarify what I said because I don't remember. Sorry, lizard brain. Bum, 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 bum. Remember that Madagascar game? No, I don't. Nope, I don't. Was it a Wii game? Because we had a hilarious amount of shovelware games for in the movie tie-ins. The Wii had an absolute bucket of of weird game tie-ins, which honestly is why they restricted the marketplace more for the Wii U. And not gonna lie, more than a little part of the reason that the Wii U didn't do well. Oh, that's what, right. Bill wanted me to talk about Pokemon. Bill wanted me to talk about, Ready my minute? Oh. Yeah, I was going to be talking about Pokemon for a little bit. Ghost 1.0 story is really good. I've been enjoying it. I have been enjoying it. I didn't expect much when I clicked on it because I literally got it in from a random Humble bundle like 6 or 7 years ago. Like I just randomly picked it up and it's been sitting in my Steam library. Like, you know what? I'm gonna toss this on the stream like for a filler episode. It'll be kind of cool. And then I played it. I'm like, wait a minute, this kind of owns. Wait, hold on, this rules. Sniper Elite 3 and 4 are great. The Sniper Elite 2 got an HD remake recently, so I would recommend if you enjoyed Sniper Elite 3 and 4 to go back and play 2. And Sniper Ghost Warrior, which I'm going to be playing on stream. I'm going to be playing the new one on stream, but I'm actually planning on going back and playing the old one if it does decently well. Are very good as well. I hope. I haven't played them, but like I have no reason to think they're not. Sniper Elite 4. I might play Sniper Elite 4 again as a collab with somebody else on stream, but I've played it off stream already. So I would let them take the lead so they could experience the stuff, and me just kind of provide sniper support, which just sounds fun in general. Let's see then. Oh yeah, so in my Discord we were talking about Pokemon and how Pokemon is a little bit in the limitations that Pokemon had for Generation 8. People saying, oh, it's one of the most profitable franchises in the entire world. How could they blah, 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 blah. And I just had to remind them that, hey, the Pokemon Company and Game Freak, the studio that actually makes Pokemon, aren't exactly the same thing. And Pokemon is... Okay, nice. And Pokemon is a comically underfunded game. Oh, was it Oh, the Noir game I was talking about. Was it Backbone with the... That sounds right. Yeah, no, I think that is it. I think that is the one. Hold on, let me check. I have to push a button to check. Yes, this is what I look like when I'm pushing buttons. Also, there's a weird spot on the top of my head because this model does weird things. Yes, it is Backbone. Yes, that is actually correct. Pokemon Gen 8 could have benefited with yeah. Delayed till, but a very good game. Yeah. But yeah, Pokemon, like, people complained about Dexit and, all that stuff, but, like, I want to give you guys the framework. Imagine that you are a dev on the team. Imagine that you're a dev on, you're, a worker at Game Freak. The entire studio is 160 people, which is decent, but not that big for Pokemon, and you were holding back because you weren't quite sure if you wanted to make a Switch game on the Switch because the Wii U was not very well received and did poorly. And a lot of people were thinking, I don't know if the Switch is going to be okay. The Switch might suck. And if the Switch sucks, I don't know if we want to waste time developing on it. And then, so you're sitting at work, just doing work stuff. And all of a sudden, your boss kicks open the door and says, the Switch is a hit. We need to make a Pokemon game for it. Go. Uh-oh. Okay. Within what time frame? We're releasing in 1 year. What? Oh, you need to learn how to program for the Switch. We have a list of APIs here to make sure you use them. Oh, okay. What? Oh, by the way, we're not actually hiring more graphic designers or coders. It's just you guys. And you need to make a Switch game on as a system that you've never even touched before. And yeah, go get to work. Go. We'll need a story too. So someone get someone on that. Okay. What? like that's basically what happened to them. They basically got told, "Hey, you're making a game." Because the Switch is popular now, and all of a sudden we want to make a Switch game because it's popular, because if the Switch wasn't popular, we weren't going to bother. We need you to make a game. And the studio was in constant crunch mode. The studio was in constant crunch mode from start to finish. And Dexit, like, it really seemed like a reworked 3DS game. Yeah, you know why? Because that's what the devs knew how to work with. The devs teams they had at Game Freak had been working on the 3DS had been working on the DS itself for like, what, 8 years? Something like that. Something like absurd like that. When did the first DS Pokemon game come out? So, yeah, like, it really was mentally. That's what they were comfortable working on, and that's what they were trying to, what they knew how to make, how to create for. So they had to make all these assets from absolute scratch, from absolute nothing. That had to be fresh and able to be imported into the Switch. They had to learn all the Switch coding and APIs and all the weird things that the Switch does, which they failed at in a couple places, like the draw distance in the wild area. But they still pushed out a game. They still made a game, and they still made frankly a pretty good game. But then people got angry at the devs and like, oh, lazy devs. And it's like, no. The devs did their best they could with what they had for what they were given. Sword and Shield was an absolute miracle. Like, real talk, it was fine. And they didn't cut the Pokemon so they could sell it back to you. They cut the Pokemon so they could actually polish the ones that were there, so they could actually finish the bloody game. Like, I am terrified of seeing what their scheduling just had to be. Making everything work, making everything, flow with each other, making dozens of new designs from scratch, which is really hard to do well. And if you want to see how they're done well, I recommend Loxton's channel. He does a lot of deep dives into Pokemon lore and inspirations, I recommend that you guys watch a couple of those videos, even if Pokemon isn't your jam, just so that you can really appreciate the amount of backstory and thought that goes into those creations, because the things that he's picking on are always like actual developer intended. Yeah, Legends Arceus is Arceus. I don't know. I think I like all the pronunciations. Legends Arceus is going to be great. Like, it's going to be fantastic because now the dev team's already used to working it, and they already have an asset library full of scripts and UIs and assets that are already working on the Switch. Pokemon Legends is going to be phenomenal. Like, it's just going to be a great game. It's going to be what the studio could have made Gen 8 if they were given more time, resources, and money. And I'm excited to see that. Because, Pokemon did a very good game for what they had to work with, and what they had to work with was less than you think. Because Pokemon is a TV show company. Pokemon is a plushie company. Pokemon is a movie company. Pokemon is a multimedia franchise that happens to have some game devs on payroll. Don't worry about them. Real talk, that's how it is. Yeah, Loxton Noggin is a must-watch for Pokemon fans, but honestly, a couple of his videos are worth watching even if you don't follow Pokemon, because when he starts deep diving about the lore, about the inspiration and lore for Pokemon, that will help any game designer think about how much depth they're actually putting into their characters. Oh, you're doing great. Don't worry about it. I do not think it's a good idea to have all the Pokemon in every game. They're just too much. And I agree. I genuinely do agree. And I think that Pokemon knew that all the way back in Gen 5, because Gen 5, you didn't have any of the old Pokemon at all until you beat the game, because they didn't want to muddle the experience. They just wanted you to go in and be like, okay, let's play a new game and go from there. And it was good. Like, seriously, it was great. And yeah, I think that cutting Pokemon and then adding them back in later is perfectly reasonable for something this scale. You see the same thing, like Games Workshop does that all the time. Games Workshop reworks their entire library every couple of years and annuates some models and paint over buffs other models. The thing is that they do it based on sales, whereas Pokemon does it more for design and balance. But the same idea is there. I mean, they're both doing the same, general concept of hey, we have too much content. We need to make sure this next game doesn't have quite so much content, so that we can, focus on working on what's there. But everything is somebody's favorite, right? There's going to be somebody whose favorite Pokemon is, Sunkern. Sunkern is somebody's favorite Pokemon. Shout out in chat if Sunkern is your favorite Pokemon. Sunkern only speedrun, go. Seems they always take about 2 games to catch up to the current industry standards. Yeah. They also always struggle on the first generation on a new console. Like the first DS game and the first 3DS games were not as good as their follow-ups, which happens. Like, the dev teams are learning for how to make new stuff and how to learning how to do cool stuff with that. That's fine. I only played the first Pokemon game and everything else was picked up by watching Loxton. That's adorable. Sunkern is Dorbs. It is true. But yeah, the first I do recommend playing a couple Pokemon games just because they are so fantastically interesting from a developmental standpoint. And the way that they've taken the formula of the originals and transcribed it and retranscribed it and innovated upon it over the years, I think is just genuinely fascinating from a game design standpoint. Unfortunately, the brand of Pokemon is built on connecting with your favorite Pokemon. Yeah. And everybody's going to be, yeah, you're right. It is. Which is why it's so hard for them to cut Pokemon, but they are at a certain point where they have to. And I think that what they're going to do in the future, this is my theory, I think in the future they're going to do more games like Pokemon Legends Arceus, where they add new main-ish games. Wait, that's not the right one. No, I want to do this. Why am I doing this? No, I'm not doing this. I am not Spider-Man. Why I'm trying to... Heck, I'm close enough. I'm. What was I talking about? Oh, right, yeah. No, so I think that for future Pokemon games like Pokemon Legends, what they're going to do is they're going to work on making new games that are balanced and have certain sets of Pokemon, like the starters in Arceus are 3 different starters, none of which are from the same generation. I think that's a fantastic idea. I think that's beautiful. I love it. They're taking what they have in Pokemon and using it just in the concept of what they're working in of an individual game without saying, okay, we need everything. It's a new official generation and we need every single Pokemon here. Like, making more Pokemon games in general is not a bad idea, but making more Pokemon games in such a way that people can play them without saying, well, my Pokemon wasn't in the main one, I think is a good plan, is a good idea. There are definitely, I'm glad Pokemon doesn't have the Digimon issue of some designs and anime exclusive design. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's completely fair. What I was gonna say. All these new Pokemon, I'm still rolling with Umbreon. Umbreon's fantastic. Umbreon's a good design. Like all the Eevees are good designs. Like they really are. What was that there? Yeah, it's not the devs' fault. The management and marketing of the game seemed a bit yeah, yeah. I agree. I genuinely do agree with that statement. Like the dev team, I think the dev team did what they could and took all of the blame. Like Game Freak took all of the blame for stuff when that was not really in their control. Like, it's a shame. It's just. Anyways, yeah, there was a new Pokemon ripoff that actually looked kind of interesting. It's actually like a third-person shooter where you run around and have Pokemon that help you. And I think it's going to be terrible, but I'm like kind of excited because it genuinely looks really, really bad. But I think that they could do something really interesting with it. I just do not trust them to actually do it. Okay, hear me out. the idea of a like Temtem is just Pokemon with multiplayer. Like, let's be honest here. Temtem is not an innovative game. It's just Pokemon with more people in it. It's fine. It's a fine game. If you like it, that's cool. I'm not saying it's a bad game. It just gets, it just gets a low rating on my innovation score. But there's a new one out that is a third-person shooter with Pokemon-like creatures, and they give you sort of like Overwatch-ish abilities. Like some of the Pokemon can flank and shoot from the side, or some of the Pokemon can provide you cover. Pal World, yes, that's exactly correct. And like, that's a cool concept, right? Like, you can walk up with an AK-47, and yeah, and have a Pokemon-ish companion drop fireballs on the enemy to get them out of cover while you shoot them. Like, that sounds cool as heck. I'm here for that. But then they showed they showed some scenes of Pokemon ripoff. Their Pokemon. This ripoff Pokemon. I don't even know what they're called right now. I don't think they actually released the name. Like working in a factory, and they all look super depressed. Like it shows them like crying, working in a factory, and it's like that could be a really interesting deconstruction about the concept of factory work and the dehumanizing nature of it being seen as nothing more than a replaceable beast. By there's actually some really interesting philosophical directions that could go. Do I think they're going to go there? No, I don't. But like, if like the Disco Elysium team made a Pokemon third-person shooter, like I'd be here for it. I guess that's really what I'm saying. But like the ideas they have on display there, I think could be very neat. I just don't know if it would be good. I genuinely don't. Pokemon Pal World called Pals, and yes, sweatshops are a thing. And I hope I hope that they do that in a way that actually makes a statement and not just glorifies it. Because that's my fear, is that they're just going to glorify, like, haha, I made a sweatshop, haha, as opposed to actually making that have repercussions, either emotional or psychological. Because if it's just oh hey, we have Pokemon and now you can be sad about it, that's not a compelling game. That's not interesting. Dream peacefully, Ray. I would say its fighting system is more than well thought out and strikes a balance of technical play and casual play. Yeah, I mean, it's a third-person shooter. I mean, it's not really different, functionally different from Mass Effect, right? Like having your character with abilities and have a companion whose abilities you can somewhat control. I mean, it does look interesting, but like the technical play, hey, have y'all ever watched high-level Pokemon, like tournament tier Pokemon stuff? There is a lot of there is a high level of Pokemon play. There really is. And third-person shooters aren't inherently more technical than strategy games. Like, I would argue that most third-person shooters are drastically less technical than anything that Paradox makes. Just putting that out there, But the fighting system does look interesting, and in the context of a Pokemon-style world, we haven't seen anything that could, that's similar to that. So I'm curious to see what direction they go, and I just really don't trust that they're going to make it an interesting and dynamic, experience. Like, I really think that they're just going to make Pokemon in sweatshops just a thing that you can make to automate industry, and then you can go in and say, haha, now I'm making 64 sprockets per hour. And that's going to, because they're going for like a Rust style thing, right? They're going for like a Rust Valheim style open world crafting thing. It's like, that's depressing. But if you make that part of the world and actually make it an interesting and dynamic part of the game's narrative, and actually balance the pros and cons, like I can do this and get my 64 sprockets an hour, but man, there's like, how introspective is the game going to be? And I don't think it's going to be introspective at all. Oh, you're saying the Temtem's combat? Okay, I thought you were talking about the Pal World combat, like switching to a third person shooter. I want to play some Temtem. I could play Temtem on the channel if people are interested. I mean, I'm not terribly excited about it, if I'm being honest. Like, but I play a lot of games that I'm not, terribly excited about, honestly, because games that are interesting are fun, and I'd rather play a game that's interesting than one that's good but dull. Does that make sense? Like, as a designer, I enjoy playing all sorts of different games. I actually go out of my way to play games that are strange, that I've never tried before, that I've never played before, in genres that are the same, which is why I love the Game Jam, because it's so many different genres and so many different styles, and I actually have the background to try that. Like, one game that I want to play on the channel is the Ghost of Maple Creek. I think y'all are going to help me play the Ghost of Maple Creek, because that is a genre that most of you probably didn't even realize exist. It's a hidden object game. Do you remember those old highlights magazines? Am I dating myself? Well, none of you are dating me, so I can date myself. Okay, so do you remember those old hidden object games that you'd find in highlights magazines that said, find the pen in this picture, and then like the pen is hidden in like the wood grain of a desk, or like, find the bird, and like the bird is like actually somebody's necklace pendant or something like that. Like, remember those puzzles? Do kids have those puzzles nowadays? Am I just old? No, it's the kids who are wrong. Anyway, but like, it's a video game where that is one of the core mechanics. You are playing a detective, and when you go into an investigate screen, you have to play a hidden object game like to completion. Like that's actually the game you're playing for a few minutes, and it's cool as heck. The rest of the game plays out sort of like a cross between a puzzle game like Myst and a visual novel, and it's fantastic. 121. Wait, what am I missing? I'm missing something. What am I missing? So when Dylan played the campaign. Wait, 121. Wait, I'm confused now. Oh, you're talking about my. Oh yeah, I am 121 years old. That's okay. That's what you're talking about. I'm sorry. I just saw 121. Can I confirm? Like, wait, what? What are you talking about? 121. Anyway, no. Yes, I've been officially dubbed a boomer tuber. Yeah. I also have a collab coming up with Cirrus. I need to poke him about scheduling. But we have a collab coming up for Civ. That's going to be exciting. That's going to be actually a really interesting collab, because we're going to be talking like philosophy and historical stuff throughout the stream as well, and I'm excited. I'm really excited for that. Cirrus is a great guy. Cirrus is just a cool dude. We've hung out a few times. I need to schedule that, don't I? I need to poke him about that, because I know. Yeah. Anyways. Oh yeah, I also want to play Chimera Squad if you guys would be interested. I love Chimera Squad. There's a puzzle like that in Breath of the Wild. I Spy books. Yes, 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 yes. That's one of the things. That is exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. But yeah, no, I'm going to be playing the Ghosts of Maple Creek on the stream. In it'll be a little ways out. I have a couple. Oh, I have a couple other games I want to take care of beforehand, so that'll be a little ways away. But that's definitely on my list of things I want to play, because that's the kind of thing that most people have no idea exists, and that's what I want to bring to people, like new experiences, new thoughts. That I end up jumping around genres a lot. Oh, and Epic Thursday. That reminds me, Epic Thursday is dead. I hate to say it, but I'm making it official now. I did a series on the channel where every Thursday I would play the free game on the Epic Game Store. Basically, this is a way of playing a new genre every week, playing a new game experience every single time. And for the last 2 weeks, they've been making the game releases private until the day it's released. And I thought about it, like, oh, I can do a Epic Thursday blank stream and then just play whatever comes out. And then they dropped Among Us as a free game, and it's like, I can't play Among Us solo. I'm not going to join a random public lobby. No. If I'm playing Among Us, it's going to be with a group of streamers or VTubers, which I've done before. It was fun. But, like, I'm not going to join a public lobby on it as a solo streamer. That's not good content. It's not interesting unless you actually have the interactions between people. And B, like that's kind of almost passé at this point. So that plus the fact that they're not releasing new that information in the future from the looks of it, I think that series just has to die. I can't roll the dice on Epic Thursdays and say, hey, I hope the game comes out is playable on a stream, and if it's not, I guess I can't stream. I don't have a stream. Like, no, I'm going to do something. But I have plenty of so many games that I want to play anyways. There's not a problem. Like, I have plenty of things to do. I'm not going to be bored. They have been doing the free game every week this entire time. I have a library of, like, God, I don't even know how big my Epic library is. It's huge. But I haven't bought it. I've bought like 3 games on Epic. Everything else they've given me free. It's great. Like, I don't get why people have hang-ups about the Epic Store. I really just don't understand that. Like, yes, Steam is great. Yes, most of my stuff is on Steam. Yes, I love Steam. But Epic's not trying to be Steam. At least not yet. They are just making a platform that exists and that launches games. That's all it does. It's just a platform that launches games. Well, like, Steam is like community, achievement records, do socials, and 1,000 different review boards. Like, that's Steam's ecosystem, and that's great. I love Steam. Don't get me wrong. Steam's fantastic. Epic is just a place where you buy games and you can play the games, and I have no problem with that. I really don't. I don't like some of Epic's choices as a company. I'm not gonna lie, but that as far as a platform goes, it's fine. It reminds me honestly of the of Good Old Games, where the Good Old Games launcher. You buy the game, you hit play, it launches a game. What more do you want? I don't see people's ire towards Epic Game Store unless it's just genuinely not liking Randy Pitchford in particular, which fair, but that's not that's not the beef that I'm that's not the beef that I'm thinking about. Yum 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 yum. Yeah, I'm gonna have to drop that series, sadly, just because it became a bit untenable. And real talk, even though it brought me some fantastic gems, it also is responsible for like 2 of my worst streams of all time. Let me know if you want me to mention what they are, because both of those streams are actually not great. Like, oh boy, ooh. But no, I had some fantastic. Like, I wouldn't have found the first tree if it, I wouldn't have found the first tree if it wasn't for Epic Thursdays. You avoid the platform because of the company behind it. I mean, that's fair. I don't. But that's a fair standard and a fair belief system. I respect it, but I don't I just mostly don't respect the people who are like, oh, well, it doesn't do all the stuff Steam does. Like, yeah, it's not trying to. You buy the game, you play the game. What more do you really want? But if it's just because you don't like Epic, fine. I mean, that's just your personal belief. I'm not going to change those, right? As far as Chimera Squad, because you were mentioning that a few moments ago, Chimera Squad is phenomenal, and anybody who tells you otherwise needs to understand more about XCOM. Like, Chimera Squad fixes the problems in the core formula. Do you know the optimal way to play XCOM? Hey, medic! Do you know the optimal way to play XCOM? It's to take your entire squad on Overwatch and move somebody up one square. And then repeat. And then repeat every single turn where you move one model up and everybody is Overwatch. That way when you finally see a pack of enemies, you all shoot them dead. And then you go one square further, and like that's technically, mathematically, that is technically the optimal way to play XCOM. And it's super hecking boring. Super hecking boring. Just like extremely boring. Like I don't even think this is a hot take. Like that's just a boring way to play XCOM. Why am I tracking being a bit weird? So Chimera Squad fixes that. Every single encounter begins with you having that Overwatch moment, with you kicking down the door, and everybody comes up and has a moment of Overwatch where they get to shoot down, they get a full action, and they get special actions that they can only take during that phase. So instead of sitting and inching forward every single time, now they baked that into the core game so that you don't have to do that, and you can't do that. You can't play the game wrong. Is it possible to play a game wrong? Yes. Yes, it is. Like, it is possible to play a game in a way where you are making the game less fun. It is. Like, you can make a game less fun by playing it. That's true. And playing the XCOM with that inch forward technique is inherently a less engaging way to play because it's so slow. It's tragic. And it's tragic in the fact that it's also optimal. Or the Chosen does fix that a bit, but you're exactly correct. You're exactly right there. That is exactly the right words. It does it with brute force methods to make people who play that way suffer. And, well, guess what? The people who played that way and enjoyed it because they were playing on the highest difficulty and felt super good about it, then hated it because they felt like they were getting it personally attacked. Because they were. They were being personally attacked for playing that way. Like, that's a fair thing to be angry about. They genuinely were being called out for playing a game like that. And, yeah, no, fair. Like, yeah, no, people were angry for a reason. And then Chimera Squad says, okay. Ground up, let's fix the formula, let's tear down the walls and build a new foundation. This is how encounters work now. You have set number of counters, and this is how they start. You can't play the game in the less engaging way that you're used to. And I think that's fantastic. I think that's just genuinely good design. And the other cool thing about this is that they also leaned into the other way that most people play. Most people play XCOM such that if your favorite character dies, you load your game. If the character that you make off of a friend dies, you load the game. Like, just real talk between us. We all do that. I know you do that. I do that. We all do that when we're playing casually. When we're just, relaxing with some XCOM, we do that. So in this game, you can't lose your characters because a character death is a game over experience. Is actually a game. Now, I feel mixed on this. On one hand, I hate that because losing characters and the threat of real death and real loss and genuine setback and all of the negative and all the positive feedback loops that go with that. Watch Game Maker's Toolkit's video on positive feedback loops. Not later, not now. Please stay with me because I need the anyway. That is a part of the core XCOM idea. Like it's supposed to be a lethal game. You're supposed to be like, oh no, I lost somebody important, but I think I can move on. I think I can push through this. Like, that's actually, how XCOM is supposed to be emotionally connected to the player, but moving it in a different direction and making the side game where all the characters live and any individual death is a loss condition makes a different type of difficulty. Makes things a little bit different, and it's pretty cool. I mean, it's different, but not worse. You see what I'm saying? Why don't we play Hunt Showdown Kobold style? I don't know what Hunt Showdown is, but I'm maybe. That sounds interesting. Making a game less fun to be optimal is a big issue in tabletop games. Yes. I've heard people say before that a system is boring because the only way to optimal. Yeah. That is very true, and I have give stories about that. I was playing Big Eye Small Mouth. If you ever heard of that system, it's real old. It's not that great. Moving on. The system is, I guess, legally speaking, it's balanced, but it's not a balanced system. Like, it is intentionally designed that you can do anything. You can make a character who is spending 5 points on being cute and having a fluffy bunny on your shoulder, or you can spend a character with using 5 points on having a rifle, which is inherently fine. But like, you need a player GM contract. Otherwise, people will be so diverse. I played a game where we had 3 people who have similar power level and 1 person who was unable to engage in combat. There was like, I did about 35 damage a hit. One other person did about 15 damage, and it got 2 attacks per round. And then one player did 7 damage on their attack round, and they just couldn't engage in the same encounters. The nice thing about tabletop games, though, is that you have that opportunity for a player GM contract, where you actually can talk and say, "Hey, what's this game going to be like? What's the power level of this game going to be?" So you have that, that personal contract. You have that. That becomes more of a flaw of the players than of the system, more of an indictment of the players in the system. But the other thing with role-playing games is that you have even if you're doing the quote-unquote optimal thing. Wait, where'd it go? Where'd my chat window go? Hold up. Chat window went away. There we go. It's back now. I missed it. Even if you're playing in an optimal way, there is ways to make your individual actions more interesting. Like, let's say I have a sword and I want to hit the green dragon. I can just start. Okay, Jade, it's your initiative. Okay. I rolled a 17 to hit the dragon. That's not a fun turn. I didn't have fun doing that. The GM didn't have fun hearing that. Other people at the table didn't. Now, this is my turn. Okay. I jump onto the chandelier, swing over the Archduke, land behind him, spin, and stab him in the back. What am I doing mechanically? I'm walking up to him and making an attack. I rolled a 17. That's all I'm doing. But I'm making it interesting by acting out, by adding flair, by adding drama to my actions. So I hit the green dragon with my sword. I rolled a 12, and it's plus 8, so it's a 20, but not a natural 20. I dive out of the way of the dragon's attack, and then charge up its arm and pierce my blade into the dragon's elbow, ripping the tails apart. Like, just come up with something interesting. Every single initiative pass, you should come up with something interesting. I've had the benefit of mostly playing D&D with other actors, though, so like, my experiences are different. But not every GM is Matt Mercer, and not every player is Troy Baker. Like, you need to be the one adding flair and interest to your character. And if you're sitting there just rolling dice and without really talking about what's going on, you're the problem. You're the one who needs to be adding to the game world and to the game development. For many years, I played games extremely methodically until newer open world games burned me out because 90% filler. That's something that I think that Nintendo, specifically Breath of the Wild, is really good at, is kicking the player and saying, hey, just go explore. Like, don't think about optimization. Just like go see what's in that tree, or go check out that weird, thing. Like, it brings back some of that. It breaks down some of the mechanical, emotional needs that people say, like, I want to optimize, I want to play this as good as I can, I want to do the best. And it says, you know what, mate? Why don't you just go climb that tower and then see if you can make it over to the lake? Like, just go jive, just go vibe, just go have fun. Don't worry about it. And it's hard to break people out of that mentality. Trust me, I played MMOs for many years, and yeah. The emergent narrative of character deaths is the other half the time. Yeah, the emergent narrative of character deaths and is an important part of XCOM, but I love Chimera Squad's way of handling things, even though it's different, and there's definitely a space for more games like Chimera Squad to exist, while still having more of a classic Fire Emblem XCOM genuine lethal games. Speaking of character death in pen and paper, I like to my character. Oh wait, hold on. Being in danger and potential risk of death, but everything should be able to overcome when playing good. Absolutely, I have a cool story about character death moment. I can tell but yeah, in a moment. Characters in Valkyria Chronicle dying permanently is rare because of the raise mechanic. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Important story characters dying is game over. That makes sense to me. That makes sense. It's a good way of blending both of those. Huh. Okay. The odds stacked against the player so much that it's necessary to roll new characters. Fail to complete the campaign just kills me. I personally feel that if a character is going to die in a tabletop game, it's something that should be discussed with that player beforehand. I mean, if somebody falls in combat, they can get up. Also, fail forward. Like, if somebody dies in combat, don't have them die. Have them get captured, or have them get whisked away, or have them get, have maybe if they're a warlock, their patron, rips them out of this plane and into their own, which is, or rips the party out of that plane and into their own, which has its own new complications. Or maybe the same thing, but for the cleric. The cleric's god says, no, get out of here. You're now here. And now it's like, well, we still have to do this quest, otherwise thousands of people are going to die. No, I'm protecting you, my cleric. I'm protecting you. Don't you understand? You can't go back out there. They tried to kill you. They almost killed my cleric. You mustn't leave me. You mustn't leave me again. You won't leave me again, will you? Like, all of a sudden you have a completely new campaign. If you have a total party kill, do this. Do this, and now you have to deal with, like, oh no, we have to get back to our own world, but my god doesn't want me to leave. Oh no, like, now you have this is more interesting than a character dying. I struggle with figuring out how to fight in D&D. Yeah, roleplay, I know what I'm doing, but it's like, fudge, how do I do this? I just make stories. Like, I just try to make my character shine through in the in the mechanics. Oh, Mouse Ritter. Isn't that Mouse Guard? Or is that something else? Yeah, I think so. Because I'm familiar with that system and I love it. I had a character. Gosh, I was playing. Being a bit strange. Sorry, just checking a thing. I need water. I need to actually drink some water, like, so I don't die. So, one sec. I need to drink some water. Okay. I'm less dead now. Where's number? Oh. Harapapaparato. Ah. Why? Hmm. Most of my Breath of the Wild experience is just find whatever's lying on the ground and pick it up. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's great. That's a great way of playing. It's 2 hours live. Oh, is it? Oh, cool. I figure I'll go for another. I'm planning on going for another hour, assuming I don't die. I can't believe my voice survived that 11-hour stream. And then I had the collab with Yuki where I had already agreed that we were going to finish Resi 6, and the Game Jam stream, the Giga stream, the 11-hour one was the night before, and I'm like, oh no, what if I don't have a voice for Yuki's stream? Oh no. I really wish the ending to Resi 6 was better. Yuki was having a rough day. Like they were a little bit checked out because of other stuff I won't get into, but they weren't getting a lot of engagement out of Ada's arc anyways, because Ada's arc is clearly made for single player, which is really disappointing, seeing as the rest of the game was genuinely made for multiplayer. Like the rest of the game was very clearly made for two-player co-op, and it felt great. Like I really do like two-player co-op games. But golly, that last quest, well, she couldn't interact with things. She just couldn't play the game, and my brain was just, I was just like not entirely here because I was still on I was recovering from the 11-hour stream, but my character was one that had to interact with puzzles, and she just was kind of checked out because like the game wasn't giving her any engagement that she could work with or stream to, and like I respect that. I understand that's hard, and I wish we ended on a better note. I wish Resident Evil 6 worked on a better note, and I wish the collab ended on a better note. I'm still friends with Yuki. She's still a great person. Don't get me wrong. Like there's no bad blood or anything there. It's just like, man, I really wish that the stream ended, the game ended the same kind of hype high that we had when ending is it Chris and Jake? No, the two military ones. Their campaign. I wish we ended on the same level as when we finished their campaign, where we were just like totally hype and high fiving and just like, oh my gosh, and instead we ended like, yep, I guess that's Ada's mission. Alright, later. Like it ended up just being super low key. It's too bad, but I'm still glad we finished it. Probably do stuff with Yuki at some point in the future. They're good people. They're good people. You should follow like people who I collab with. Yeah, if I'm ever collabing with somebody, I always hope that people follow to their stream and give them a like or a subscribe or a Twitch follow. It's just, well, because I hope that the same thing happens both ways, right? Like I hope that their people come to me and give me the same. There's two reasons to collab. One is hanging out with cool people, which is definitely something I was doing with Yuki because she's just the cool peoples. And the other one is to make the channel grow. And a good collab does both these things for both people, ideally. I love my background music. I really do. When I was clicking out my background music, I put it on for like, I was like, okay. I'm going to be having this on in the background during chat streams. I need to make sure that this isn't going to annoy me. I need to make sure that this isn't going to be something that's going to be annoying to listen to. So I'm going to put this on all day and just have it on in the background. And if it drives me mad, then it'll drive people in the stream mad. And if it's driving you guys mad, then no one's out. Then it's not a good pick. Also, I just realized that I put chat down here, and this is where the chat panel is. But this is going to be where chat is showing up on stream. So, I just realized that doesn't make any difference at all. Anyways, hi! Where was I? I forget. I have no idea. That's a good rock. I like this rock. This is a good rock. Another rock. Oh, no. Don't think about things too much. That's my advice. Flip Jade. Did I flip? Oh, you're seeing my back. Because I have a back. Psha! I like my tail. It's cute. Ah. Oh yeah, the Deedlit game came out. Finally came out of early access too. So I'm excited to try that out. I've got a bunch of games lined up. I think we'll have a good time together. Plus, I have some games that any general advice for those planning on making a full game out of our jam projects? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. In specific, or in general, in specific, if you want to turn your game jam project into a full game, use what you have just as a prototype and don't expect what you have to be a full game. Just take it and say, okay, we learned a lot from the jam. We can use these assets. Well, let's effectively start over and spend a week on the game design document. If you're not making a game design document for your games, fix that. Start doing that. You need to be making game design documents. That's really important, friends. But don't think of it as completing your game jam project. Think of it as taking your game. I mean, unless you're like Carnalito, where your game jam project is hacking just the framework of almost being done. Because heck, jeez, golly. Anyways, take your game jam project and use it as the foundation as if you were running a new project. If you want to make your game jam game into a full release, take your game jam project, go back to the drawing board and make sure your game design document is set. Build up from that and take in what you have and say, okay, now that we have the design doc and we have a roadmap of what we're planning on doing, now let's take and build this back up. We'll take everything that we have and everything we have will be still valid. Let's take what we have here, pick it up, and work and begin the process anew. It's making a full game. I think you phrased it well. I think you phrased it very well. You're not finishing your game jam project. You are making a full game out of your game jam project. You made a skeleton, now you need to flesh out a game. So yeah, that's a good way of approaching it mentally. Is don't think of it as finishing the project. Think of start over and make a full game out of your game jam project, because you were rushed. That's just the nature of game jams. You were rushed into creating something, and you don't want to be locked into you don't necessarily want to be locked into all the choices that you made at every point in that process. So go back to basics. Say, we do want to make this into a full game. What's the best full game we can make? Because a good full game and a good game jam game are not the same thing. We can all agree on that, right? A good full game release is not necessarily the same thing as a game jam release. A completed video game that you put to market doesn't always look like a game jam game. It looks like, it ends up in a different space. And a good game jam game, some phenomenal game jam games, might not translate into full releases. A lot of them that we played, I adored Sir Slithersworth. Sir Slithersworth was a fantastic game jam game, absolutely deserved all the praise it got, and it got a healthy amount. It was absolutely a delight. I don't think they can make a full game out of it. I just don't. It's just Snake at the end of the day. It's a Snake with a cute aesthetic. Do I think that studio can make a full game? 100% yes. Do I think that the talent behind that can go on to make a full new project? 100% yes. Do I think that Sir Slithersworth needs to be a full game? No. I don't think that that's the direction for that project. So you need to think about, is this going to be a game that's going to get a full release? And if so, work from the ground up. take it back to the drawing board and say, okay, we're making a full game this time. What do we need? Where are we going? How do you create a game design doc? Any tips? I think that might be an entire stream on its own. Like, rapaporoto. Hold up. Hold exactly up. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. But where'd this go? Okay, but I want another one. Where do I get another? I can press this button. Yes, now I have this here. Yes, okay. This is great. This is what I was looking for. Okay, so if I'm here, I can push this button. If I do this. Heck. What if I'm over here and push this button? No. This button. Okay, where's my drive? How do I get to drive? How do I get to that? Heck. What I'm going to do, give me 1 second to pull up a thing, and then I will answer that question in more detail. Actually, no. I'm going to save that for another... Yeah, I'm going to save that for another stream for now. I have a lot to say about game design and game jam documents and moving forward with that. So let me just shorthand it and say that you should absolutely take your it's the old outlining stuff you used to do in school. Like that actually ends up being useful. It's what's my elevator statement? What's my elevator pitch? What is what sets us apart? What are we trying to accomplish emotionally with with our game? What effect are we trying to create in the players who play it? And then what assets do we need? What processes are we going to take? And then what are our backgrounds? What are our talents? All that other jazz. Look up a couple of game design document templates and think about how you can apply that to things. I'll cover it more in detail later. That's just going to be a whole stream. It has to be a whole stream, and it should be a whole stream. It will be. I'll try and do that next week. Maybe. Yeah, no, I can probably do that next week. Yeah, I'll do that next week for you because you deserve it. Subscribe. Where is it? Anyone considering becoming a VTuber, what advice do you give and where to start? So, being a VTuber is being a streamer. I mean, it is. It's improv acting. At the end of the day, being a streamer is being an improv actor. Except instead of the audience giving you your cues or your or getting a piece of paper telling you what your role is, you take your character and the game you're playing is your prompt. If you want to be a streamer, look up improv acting. Just that's my background. That's what I do. Am I fantastic at it? Oh, I'm okay, I guess. But like the best streamers are improv actors, and a VTuber is just a streamer with a cool avatar. Like that's really at the end of the day what we are. Like a VTuber is a streamer that has an avatar. The joke, the meme answer that I give is what do you need to become a VTuber? Oh, a degree in acting helps. No, you don't have but you don't have to. There's plenty of fantastic actors and streamers who don't have that, but that's the meme answer. So I thought you might appreciate the meme answer. Anyways, but yeah, improv acting courses, being able to I mean, I'll come because I don't want people to know I'm furry on main. Aw, it's adorable. Yeah, improv acting courses and watch streamers differently. Pull up your favorite streamers and don't watch them for entertainment. Once in a while, watch them for research. Like sometimes I sit down and just watch Gura or Ina for fun and just be like, good times. I'm having fun watching them game. Other times I'll sit there with be like, okay, so they noticed this and they connected this and they're paying attention to that. Like the chat's just going at this speed, like actually deconstruct them a little bit. Saikuna is actually one of the sources that I did that to try and develop my style. Someone mentioned that my streaming style was kind of like Saikuna's, and I'm like, really? I didn't know that. I mean, I've never even watched Saikuna. I've seen him in a couple of Disguised Toast rods, but I haven't really, watched it myself. Seems cool. So I watched a couple of Saikuna videos and started taking notes about how he interprets things and where his reactions are in various processes. And I think I came out the other end with more concrete skills for my style without taking his. You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah. If I could take anybody's style, I mean, I wouldn't, because that'd be rude. And yeah, and then after that, you just go to Skeb or Fiverr or Twitter and find someone with commissions open, and get a model. That's the final part. Like that's the final part. That's also the least important part. The important part is your ability to talk to the audience, is your ability to talk to people, your ability to make content. If there's no people, because you will have streams where nobody shows up. You will 100% have streams where there is like 3 people in audience, and you're one of them on a different browser window. And you need to be able to talk, like 2 silent people, like 2 people in the audience who aren't saying jazz. And you need to be able to create content. You need to be able to act to an empty house as if there was a full house there. That's hard. You can't... dead air is death. If you stop talking for more than 5 seconds consecutively, you die. You just executed. Just done. Okay, maybe not quite that extreme, but kinda. So someone like, say, some of these big streamers, are constantly talking, even if no one's in chat. Like, even if nobody is in chat, you need to be able to talk to chat as if they were there. You need to be able to say, "Oh wow, I can't believe that happened," or whatever's relevant to whatever is relevant to the situation. And talking to an empty room is fine. Talking to what is it? Another TV viewer, I think, is the Twitch bot that shows up to everybody who's streaming, so they have at least one viewer. And you need to make friends with that bot. That bot doesn't say anything, but you need to become their friend, practice talking to them as if they were, actually someone there. Because if somebody clicks onto your stream, they're going to be showing up 17 seconds after you said something. If they show up and you don't say anything for 17 seconds, it's too late. They've already clicked off. They're already watching somebody else now. It's gone. You had your chance. Done. Yeah, game design docs depend on your workflow and how many people you're working with. Absolutely. Everything is situational. That said, there are some general constructs for a good game design doc that you ought to keep in mind, even regardless of your studio size, and I'll go into that in a stream next week, probably. Big tip I often come up with for YouTube in general is don't copy another YouTuber, because if they wanted to watch you making who you're imitating, they'll just watch the real deal. Yeah. So you should be watching other YouTubers and streamers to help develop your style, but to help develop your style. Take bits and pieces, steal the things that work for you and drop the things that don't. Don't try to become Disguised Toast. Say, well, I like the confidence, I like the pseudo-aggression, I like the friendly undertones. I'll take some of the elements of what Disguised Toast does well and add them to my own acting character, add them to my own character. Persona, that's what I'm looking for. I was, yeah. And make something unique out of it. Make yourself out of it. Like, there's no other VTuber that's really like me. There's very few other streamers who are like me. I try to maintain my aggressively wholesome attitude. I try to maintain the level of expertise that I also have in the games in game studio, while still having the cute childlike innocence of the kobold. Like, I try to balance these, and I think I'm doing okay. Like, I'm having a good time, and some people seem to follow me, so I mean, it works for me. but yeah, so that, like, find your own niche and carve it. I mean, like, am I Dan from Playframe? No. did I gain most of? Do I use most of their comedic stylings and streaming? To handle the way that my stream similarly? Absolutely, but I'm not him, and I'm not trying to be him. I'm trying to take the things that he does that work for me and make them mine. Also, that's probably my favorite streamer to watch, honestly, is Playframe. If you're looking for another streamer to watch that has my sort of wholesome, uplifting attitude, Playframe. They're beautiful. I love them. They're fantastic. Someday I want to collab with them, but I'll need I'll need another couple thousands of subscribers before I feel comfortable even going hello. Excuse to place my plushies in a room for talk. Yeah, actually, that's true. I could post to you. I'm not going to right now. You know what? Okay, I'm going to post this in Discord after the stream. I will post to you my follower for the first couple months of my streaming before I actually had regular followers. I had a small unicorn squishy toy, one of those stress relief toys, like that you could squeeze and then it reforms. That was my audience, and that was who I looked at when I was talking to the audience. So, and yeah, put up a plushie, put up something that you can talk to, put up something with a face so that you actually can look at it and talk to it, not at it, but to it. Yeah. That's genuine idea. Like, put up plushies for it. You may have already answered this subtly already, but when talking about design for any project, specifically games, do you prioritize first the philosophy, what you want to do and invoke? Or do you start with a concept or idea for something that may work, and then figure out what the most effective way, what it may be supposed to, and work towards it? That's not a easy question to answer, and everybody has their different ways of going about it, and you need to find what works for you, kind of like what I was saying before. Had that said, for me, the effect that you're trying to create in the person, in the player, is the core of your game, right? Like, that's kind of, the whole goal. Is this a power fantasy? Is this supposed to be the joy of, just mayhem? Is this the joy of exploration? What is the fundamental type of experience that you want to drive? I feel like that's the most important thing. If you have an idea for something that might work and you want to explore it, sure, absolutely. Take that mechanic and work with it. But take the mechanic and distill it down and figure out what that mechanic is doing for you. Otherwise, you won't be able to iterate on it well. Like, if you say, like, there's the whole philosophy of Mario games. What does a Mario game do well? Well, what a Mario game does well is show you a level, show you a new concept or mechanic, show you that same concept and mechanic in a slightly more dangerous situation, force the player to understand that mechanic and be able to manage it with a twist, end level. That's Mario 3. That's Mario, Super Mario World. That's Yoshi's Island. Like that's most 2D Mario games. Is that idea repeated, dozens of times? You do that 2 or 3 dozen times, and you have a Mario game. So. What they're doing with that is building that emotional state of, I can do this. I see what they're asking me to do, and I can figure this out. Oh, it's a little bit harder now, but I think I can do this. Oh, there's a challenge, but I know how to do this because they taught me how to do it. I got this. And that's the feeling that Mario always is trying to, in 2D, is always trying to produce, which is that feeling of, okay, this is a challenge, but one that I can handle. Like that's what Mario is going for. And it does a fantastic job. Probably going to get a proto bean. Aww, that's a good idea. That is a very good idea. I was surprised to jump into the Kobold Vtubers, but now I know 4. Who's the 4th? Okay, you're holding out on me. Who's the 4th? Like you, me, Riley, and who? You're holding out on me, you little Kobold. You're holding out on me, Lunabold. As a regular actor, I'm just used to talking to walls and empty theaters as is. Yeah, yep. I've been there. Yeah, talking to something with a face. That's what I recommend as an actor too. Like that will help your acting. That will help you acting because Like, even if it's, even if it's just a proto bean or something like that, you're presenting to something and other outside of the void. Like, you're projecting into a target, which you have to do as an actor. You must do that as an actor. Like, just think about stage presence. Like, if somebody walks on stage and goes, "Hi," like, there's a different stage presence from someone who goes, "Yo, what up?" But like, it's just a different feeling. It's a different emotional state. It's a different projection. And I don't mean like vocal projection. I mean emotional projection. You need to project your emotions into the audience. This is getting more into philosophy. This is getting more into like philosophical questions. But but I would absolutely practice acting to something with a face so that you can practice, so that you can focus on projecting your emotions and your thoughts into it as you act, because that will help you become a better actor. That genuinely, that will help you. Because like you need to learn that. If you just project into the void, then you don't get anything back. If you project into a person, you get a response back, but you can practice projecting into a person by projecting into a potato. And big YouTube tip: just do it. Not even YouTube tip, just a game dev tip too. Yeah, like just do it. Just do a thing. Just do a thing. Just start doing a thing and just do a thing. If you're on the fence of just do it. Just do it. Don't care if your setup is cheap and low quality or any of this use. First recording will suck. I have recordings that you guys don't know about, and you won't. Probably. I have old recordings on my Twitch channel. I technically have a Twitch channel. I don't use it. I practiced on there until I felt confident enough that I felt like I would be proud of my work. Then I switched over to YouTube and made this channel and kept going, and then did that other jazz. So yeah, your first work you're going to feel bad about it. Like, that always happens. There's no way of really preventing that. Because as you get better, you look back at your old stuff and say, "Wow, I could have been better if I knew what I did now." But guess what? You didn't know what you know now then, because you were better now because you did that. If you don't do that, then you won't be better than the future. But then when you do the things, so that when you become better, you won't be having anything to look back on because you don't exist, because you didn't do the thing to begin with, because you get better at it. Right? Wait, what? Harpato. I don't know what on Tuesdays we scream into the void. Yeah, fair enough. I've given the same advice to other musicians. Yes, musicians, same effect, especially for smaller band musicians. You need to be able to entertain yourself or yourselves if you're in a group in order to engage an audience. Yeah, absolutely. I'm just here having a good time. Like, real talk. I'm just here vibing. And when I'm playing games, I'm just playing games, like having fun with you guys. Like, yeah. You need to be able to entertain yourself and be entertaining to yourself, I guess. But bum, 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 bum. I've gone out to the sidewalk and sang and played, and one other car. Then cars passed by, and I tried to look like I was having the best jam. Yeah, absolutely. That's what. You need to play to an empty house the way you play to a full house. Because here's the other thing, especially on YouTube, less on Twitch, but especially on YouTube, you get viewers later. Like, I know we have X number of people here now. How many people do we have now? We have 14 people in here now, which is, I'm happy with that number. But I'm going to have probably another 50 views on the stream by the end of the week. I'm going to have maybe another 100 views on the stream by the end of the month. I might have, if I start making it bigger and becoming more, more popular, I might have thousands of views on this in this video a year from now. Guess what? I need to be engaging to you and all potential viewers. I need to be engaging to anybody who might be watching me in the future, especially me, because I'm doing narrative games. Like, if somebody 6 years in the future says, "You know what? There's that weird game called Ghost 1.0 or like The Hat in Time. I want to watch somebody play it." And then they search you up. Guess what? They're watching you play. They're watching this. They're watching me play. And like, yeah, guess what? I need to be on my A game for that person who's going to be watching this video 6 years in the future. Like, that's still an audience. That's still, still playing to an audience. even if you don't have live viewers, you will have people, who are going to be enjoying your content later on YouTube. Let's be honest, nobody watches Twitch VODs. Nobody watches Twitch VODs. If you watch Twitch VODs, you're lying. You didn't watch a Twitch VOD. You watched the live streamer instead because they were live. Nobody watches Twitch VODs. That's just how it goes. Which is why I didn't, want to be a part of that ecosystem. I want people to be who enjoy me to be able to watch my older stuff, and I want to be able to create whole experiences. I think of my streams more as episodes, honestly. Are you aiming for a geometric growth? Honestly, right now I'm just aiming for growth. Like, I need to hit 1,000 before I can monetize. Like, real talk. I unless somebody goes to the Flatter account in the description below and starts dropping money, I haven't really made any money off of any appreciable money off of VTubing. And when I start making money, all the money's gonna go back into the stream, like to give myself more and better stuff. But yeah, so like I'm just aiming to hit that mark of that 1,000 mark, because then I can monetize. But here's the thing with YouTube is when I monetize is when YouTube also will start pushing my channel more to other people. Like that's when YouTube will start pushing my channel out to the public more, because then they make money off of sending things out. And so right now I'm just looking for growth, full stop. Because eventually my growth will create growth. Ideally. Eventually my older streams will get residuals and get new subscribers from people who find it. Eventually people who are in chat will tell their friends, hey, check out this cool kobold who likes to play narrative games and say wholesome things, because I do. That's who I am. It's just me. I'm not like I'm not really putting on like a show for you guys. I really am like this. But yeah, I'm just looking for it to hit. Honestly, my channel goals are to hit that 1,000 mark, and then just keep going and go for the best. And I'm trying to do that by doing the Game Jam stuff. Has been great. I'm doing collabs with various people. Yuki, Cirrus. Yeah, I've been a delight. I'm going to be doing a collab with Draco, with Ollie, Draco Ollie, near the end of the month. It's already scheduled. I'm just having a good time, and I want more people to have a good time, and I want to make people happy. Like I said before, like any actor or artist that wants to reach their audience and instill an emotion into them. And I don't think the game designer is any different. Your game designer wants to reach out to their audience and fill them with some emotion. What the emotion that is changes. Like, I'm firmly in the stance that games don't have to be quote-unquote fun, but that's because the definition of fun is unnecessary. Like, what is fun, what is not fun, what is engaging, what is not engaging. There are two different things. There are games that are not quote-unquote fun, that are phenomenal. I can think of a few off the top of my head. Just like the classic example, of course, is Just Growth is fine. That was I see. You're talking about the Game Jam theme. You're clever. You're being clever. I like it. What was I saying? Heck. Where am I? No, what was it? Heck, dang it. I was in the middle of saying a thing, then I got distracted. Oh well. It's gone now. That idea's gone. Yeah, the theme of growth I loved. I think that was Adrian's idea, I think. I think Adrian's the one that actually came up with that idea. How deep and hard of philosophical questions can we ask along that train of thought? Of course. You can ask anything of that along those lines. I enjoy those. I will gladly talk philosophy. I will not talk politics. That's really what it boils down to, is that politics are just not pleasant. Like, yeah. Politics are like butts. Everybody has them, and most people don't actually look at their own and examine themselves to see if there is a problem there. There's my take for you on that one. That's as far as politics goes. But as far as philosophical questions, please go ahead. We've discussed philosophy on this channel multiple times. Heck, I'm still saying that put in chat your favorite historical philosopher. Mine is Carl Jung. Oh, right, games don't have to be fun. Like examples, the classic example is Spec Ops: The Line. Spec Ops: The Line is not a fun game. It's a really good game that's emotionally taxing and just painful to play at some points. But it's the kind of pain that you get when you're watching like um Citizen Kane. Like I mean, I'm not saying this like Citizen. No, I'm not making that comparison. But I'm saying like it's a drama. It's a drama that is where its engagement is the uh, is the emotional state that it builds, not the fun that you're having. I had another good example a little while ago. I forget what it was off the top of my head though. But yeah, there are multiple games that aren't fun in that sense. I mean, MMOs. A lot of MMOs stop being fun. You play them for the community, and that's great, and it's valid. But the fun is not something to chase so much as creating an emotional state that moves the audience. A game can make me cry or be terrified, but it's in a controlled space. Well, I mean, okay, I would say that your definition of fun is different than mine. Like Soma. Soma was not fun. Soma was not a fun experience. It was painful, it was aggressive, it was hurtful. But I loved it because I was so engaged in the world and so engaged in the fear and so engaged in what was going on. Did I have fun, quote unquote, with air quotes of fun? No. Did I like it? Yes. I was fully engaged by what was going into it. Getting over it, yes, that's another good example of one that's engaging but not fun. Red Dead Redemption, I haven't played that one, though. I've heard good things, though I have concerns about the studio. I didn't want to support the studio, the crunch time that went into it. What was the other... Hold on a sec. Yeah, feel free to toss any... Okay. Let me grab some water first, then I'm going to answer Adam's question. Just so they can go to bed later. 1 sec. I am out of water. I've drank all of the water. Aside from this, but like, I don't know if I can drink this. It'd be very difficult. So. You've said that any artist does, and in my interpretation implied they should, aim to evoke an emotion in the audience. Do you believe that those emotions should be positive? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. It's harder in games because games have a reputation for always trying to be positive, but that's not necessarily necessary. It's not necessarily necessary. That's just, yeah. Can I sit on this rock? Okay. No, I cannot quite. That breaks it a little bit. Oh, I'm glad you like the model iron. It's harder in games because people are hesitant to buy games that are not based off positive emotions. Oh, Papers, Please. That was the other one I wanted to mention. Papers, Please isn't a game that's usually defined as fun, but it's a game that's defined as engaging. Yeah. Do I believe those emotions should? I guess, that's what I'll focus on. Should be positive? No. The emotional state that you're trying to instill in your player can be any emotional state, and it can still be an interesting and engaging experience. Usually, the experience for a game is eventually, or culminationally, the feeling of accomplishment, the feeling of I did it, I strived and I achieved. That's usually the state that a game ends up wanting to establish at some point in it, because of the whole, game part of it, the gameplay, it needs to have a resolution, and that resolution almost always has to be, I did it, I accomplished. But the emotional state that you want to instill in the user along the way does not have to be that. It can be anything. Papers, Please is a good example of a drama. The baby game in Stanley Parable, sure. I mean, yeah, that's the deconstruction of it, but the Stanley Parable in general. What is the Stanley Parable? Is it fun? I mean, it's kind of cute comedy, but like the actual gameplay in the Stanley Parable, is it fun? Is it really? Because like you're just holding W and moving the mouse a few times. It's not really engaging. You're engaged by the story, but it isn't necessarily fun. I am thinking about playing Getting Over It with Brian Foddy, but I don't know if it'd be interesting because the game is based on anger and sadness and loss, and that feeling of rage. And I don't rage. Like seriously, I don't rage. Anybody who watched my League of Legends stream watched me, go an entire, what was that, 5-hour stream without swearing or raising my voice once in League of Legends as a new player. Hydrate or dihydrate, yes. A game I wouldn't say is net hack. Okay. Repeatedly bashing your head against a wall in RNG mechanics. Dark Souls is not on that same idea. Dark Souls. Dark Souls, the fun is in the accomplishment of overcoming a trial, but the trial itself isn't always fun, and that's fine. It's still engaging. It can be. And again, dramas. Drama is entirely valid. Like imagine saying that movies have to be fun. Imagine saying like that. Hacking. I don't know. Schindler's List. Imagine saying that Schindler's List is a bad movie because it's not fun. Like you'd be laughed out of any classroom in the country if you said that. You'd be laughed out of any decently respectable, respectably opinioned club or group if you say that, and for good reason. You should be. Like it's a great movie. It's not fun, but it's good. But games sort of have this pressure on them to be enjoyable because they think that fun is mandatory, and it's not. It just ain't. Wait, hold on. Yeah, there we go. I need to sit again. Papers, please. Yeah. I prefer games that are fun over story sometimes. Slow-paced stuff isn't for me. That's fair for you. I mean, that's fair. Not every game is for every person. That's something that we all have to acknowledge and accept, Not every game is fun for every person. Is this work on my model or is it exploding? I can't tell. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. And I think there's a lot of unexplored design space for other interpretations of engagement that are not focused on fun for that same reason. The first tree was a walking simulator that was interesting. Like that struck to my soul. A lion's song, so good. That evoked lots of emotions. Some people might hate me for this, but Fallout New Vegas, it has a great story and hundreds of options to go to, even though for gameplay it's incredibly dated and stale at times. You're not wrong. But it has so much going for it that it overcomes its systems. Yeah, I think that's a fair analysis. But there's so much in Fallout New Vegas is a phenomenal game. It really is. But yeah, the actual shooting mechanics feel dated, especially now that we've had games with such good shooting mechanics in them that just feel crisp and reactive and explosive. That a game like Fallout New Vegas feels weaker by comparison, which is a shame, a genuine shame. But it is what it is, and there's so much to enjoy about Fallout New Vegas that it's still one of the best games of all time in my book. To create a game which isn't fun, or to intentionally invoke negativity with a game that requires major overcoming of expectations of the medium, that I think more than any other artistic outlet. Yeah, probably. I'm trying to think of other. Oh, hello, Chim. I'm just trying to think of other situations where that might not be, where that might also be true. But yeah, I think that might be true. The expectation of fun to be the core driving principle of the game is difficult. I mean, it's something that's hard to deal with. So if you're trying to make, oh, Brandon, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me, Brandon. Oh, Brandon, please, I swear to heck. Okay. Okay. Play Fallout New Vegas. Just go. No, go. You know what? No, everyone else stay. Everybody, please, I need the views. Iron Brandon, go. Go to Steam, get Fallout New Vegas, go play it. It's one of the best games of all time, like genuinely. I don't say that lightly. It's just really genuinely is a phenomenal game in just every regard. Um, yeah, if you're interested in game design, you need to play Fallout New Vegas. Just frankly, just straight up. There's so much good storytelling, and that game does, and it's difficult to find other modern examples because that aren't watered down. Like many other modern examples of the storytelling and game development, game design that they work in, are watered down heavily to be more appealing for modern audience, like Fallout 4, for example. What's it rated? I think it's Peggy 16. I'm not sure. I think it's Peggy 16. I could be wrong. I also recommend that everybody play Final Fantasy VI. That's that is actually probably my favorite game. Oh, creature. Also, if you already have played it, I do recommend watching H Bomber Guy's video on it. Fallout 1, Fallout 2, Fallout New Vegas, and you can skip the rest. I disagree. Those are the best ones. Fallout 2 is a phenomenal game. Fallout New Vegas is as good as Fallout 2. Genuinely, but I think it's worth playing Fallout 3, not because it's a good game, but because it to see what happened. Like, okay, if you were watching this as a game designer, because I know most of you are still in here because of the game jam. If you're as a game designer, you should be playing games that are not good. Seriously, you should not be restricting yourself to AAA games. You should not be restricting yourself to well-reviewed games. You should not be restricting yourself to certain genres. If you are a game designer, you need to play the games that are bad and analyze why they're bad, and then keep playing them and realize why somebody might like this and what the thought process was of the dev team, and then keep playing it and say, okay, I can appreciate what they're going for in here, and I understand why they're trying to do this. Then keep playing it, and even if you never actually enjoy the game because it's a bad game, then that happens. It can still be a really good tool, a really good tool for learning, and a really good way of learning to what you like in a game, what you think works and what doesn't work, and try to understand the dev team's logic in creation. Try to get inside their brain and say, what were they going for? What were they trying to do here? And why did it fail? Like, I'm not saying to go buy Bad Rats. Don't. I believe that's the lowest rated Steam game. At least it was at one point. But I am saying that finding a game that does not work and figuring out why it doesn't work is very important to you and your ability to look at your own projects and say, wait a minute, why isn't this working? Oh, wait. Like, that's a good idea. Yeah. H Bomber Guy is phenomenal. You should definitely watch like all of H Bomber Guy's stuff. I'm not. Yeah. Very good person. Wait, what? We were speaking of good expansions earlier. New Vegas had some good ones. It had some interest. It had some very interesting ones. The one that ended up being more horror-ish didn't vibe with me because it felt like it was against the tone of the exploration that they had built up to. But the Mojave, Red Rock Canyon one was outstanding and beautiful. I love Red Rock Canyon. That's my favorite place to hike. Is adding an actual PP to my title a good idea? What? I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh yeah, no, delay is, I think, what are we up to, like 20 seconds? I don't know. One must know evil in order to defeat it. Hold on, that's not terrible read. Hold on, I can do, on. One must know evil in order, no, that's, why am I doing that? It's like somewhere between an announcer voice and a hero. Should I go hero? One must know evil in order to defeat it. What is that? That's my throat's too fried. No, I can't do any good voice acting right now. Nope, you just got me. You just got me here. One must know evil in order to. Ow, my throat. I'm dead. Rip me. Old World Blues was fun. That was a cute spin on the Fallout theme and the Fallout idea that really got to the idea of what Fallout. The thing with Fallout that Fallout 4 and 3 both fail at, that Fallout 1 and 2 and New Vegas do, is that Fallout's a comedy. The punchline is that humanity is terrible and we're all going to die, but it's a comedy. Like, at root level, Fallout is a comedy game, and that's why I love it. Rip my throat for sure. Where am I streaming tomorrow? Is it Hat in Time tomorrow? Yeah, no, tomorrow's... What is tomorrow? Heck, I have no idea. I think Hat in Time is tomorrow. Yeah, Hat in Time is tomorrow. Yeah. I am going to just fall over and die. It's going to be great. Hat in Time is very chill, and I will stay very low-key during it because, well, it's that kind of game. Think. Sec. Real quick, I'm going to keep going for a while longer, but where's it going to be? Where's it going to be? Think YouTubes. Wait, am I actually... Subscribe! Here. Is it here? I think it's here. Is it here? I don't know. Subscribe, hit the bell, and all that fun jazz. Discord link is a cool place where we just chill, talk about cool stuff, and post cat pictures, and just a generally uplifting and wholesome place where we talk about game design and stuff. So yeah, it's a good place to join. There's a donation link down there if you're in the mood to buy me some tea, or yeah, hi. Honestly, people talking and commenting is huge. You're gonna oh no, Lunabold, what have you done? Go to bed, Lunabold. I appreciate you coming out. It's good to have you as always. But yeah, no, go to sleep, you friend. Tomorrow is the day after today. You know what? That sounds right, but I can't confirm it. That sounds right, but I can't validate. So yeah, the next game jam is going to be... I can't... Wait. Did Adrian announce when it was? I don't think he announced when it was. Heck. Well, that means I can't announce when it is. Unless... No, I'm not going to step on his toes. For the next game jam, it's going to be great. So. The theme... One of the big driving forces of this game jam is that every game was streamed, either by me or I did everything, but ACB Games streamed a bunch, Ivis streamed a bunch, and that's going to be a thing in every iteration of Go to Go Jam, as long as I am still having a voice in the discussion. And I do. I'm one of the hosts. It's kind of my thing, Anyways, we are going to make sure that every single entry is streamed. If we get 6,000 entries, I'm making it happen. I will call my list of VTuber contracts. I will get all of V Creatures in here. I will get all of Cirrus's friends in here. I will get all of I will get all of the people all of my mutuals on Twitter in here. We will make sure that every single game is streamed. I'm probably gonna get most of V Creatures in here for the next one, anyways. But that's between you and me. I can't announce that yet. Yeah, the one of the ideas is that we're going to go have another stream. We're going to have another keep it going. We're going to keep on having these, the game jams with the theme that you will have your game streamed live, because streaming a game live and having somebody play it while you're sitting in chat or watching it afterwards is an inherently different experience than making a game and sending it to the public and hoping it works. There is a certain level of suffering involved in watching somebody play your game and not being able to tell them what they're doing wrong that you need to experience. It just hurts. It hurts in a way that you need to feel. But also, like, I'm gonna, the people who I'm going to get on this are going to be, also wholesome and also giving, positive feedback and saying, hey, here's what I'm seeing and here's what I think you're trying to go for. Here's what I think, where it is. Kind of like how I did with things. Mhm. Are they? Ah. So that's kind of the idea. Oh, you fixed the game's conveyance? Very good. Conveyance is very difficult, but it's very, very important as well. If people stream on Twitch, do they what? If people stream on Twitch, do they Twitch because maybe, I don't know. I'm a YouTube streamer, so I have no idea. I just have tubes everywhere. That's all I got. What? What? But yeah, I also want to make sure that the theme has a trap. I want to make sure that the next Game Jam theme has another trap in it, because there was a trap in this game, this theme. Like, objects get big. Like, the theme is growth. An object getting bigger is not growth. Numbers going up is not growth. Growth is development. Growth is improving. Growth is creation. Growth is means a lot of things. But I was very hard on a lot of games where the growth was not actually a part of of the concept of the game. It was just sort of tossed in at the end. And I think that is hilarious, because that was the intention. That was intended. I intended that from the beginning. When Adrian floated the idea of growth, I'm like, that's great. People are going to misunderstand it, and it's going to be hilarious. And maybe I'm evil. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little evil. But yeah, the idea of I want the other themes to be something that is difficult to develop on. Like, okay, if we have the theme, like, I don't want to do something superficial, like the theme is rolling and then just everybody makes a game where you roll and we have a dozen Katamari clones. But if the theme is, I don't know, what's another good concept for a theme? What if the theme is aging? If the theme is aging, then a good concept of that would take into the idea the frailty of old age, or maybe the opposite of the weakness of the inherent weakness of youth, and how much you can grow as you can, and you can change as your age increases. Or maybe the game is about wine, and then there actually is a tangible difference mechanically as things get older, but then we're going to be playing then if we make the theme aging, then we're going to have a dozen games where you hit a button and a year passes, and that's the entire concept. Like, the concept has traps in it, where the trap is the trap is taking taking the idea at a superficial level instead of taking the idea in the to its potential. And we saw that in growth. Like, we saw games where growth was the core verbs. We saw games where growth was the core concept of the game. We saw games where growth really genuinely drove the conceptual nature of the game from the ground up. And I want that. And then we had a dozen Snake clones. We had a dozen. And yeah, there was. I don't know if you guys know this, but there was a tutorial on how to make Snake in Godot, and everybody followed it. That's really what happened, is that everybody had a Snake clone, because there was a good tutorial on how to make Snake in Godot, and like, growth, perfect, we're done. And there were some fantastic ones. There were some really, really good variants on that, but they didn't. None of them really captured the idea of growth the way that Megatheos did, with your core verbs and your core puzzle solving being growing and shrinking, or the way that Janssen's journey, which I loved, was a journey of personal growth and development that was interrupted by emergencies, by temporary needs, and like there was actually a really cool story there that I think actually worked really well with the themes of growth outside of fat man get rolled around to eat cake. At first I was like, oh, this is terrible, this is just fat man eat cake, this is not growth. Then the game actually had genuine themes of Jensen trying to become a better person, and what was holding him back was his medical condition, was the fact that he was hypoglycemic, I think is what we decided on, that was actually the most likely to be the cause. And it's like, oh, that's actually a really interesting take on growth. You know what? I changed my mind on the game. I being like, wow, that's great. But yeah, like I want the themes to have a low hanging fruit option, and then I want the themes to have a higher conceptual option of that and then see what people take on the higher conceptual, because those are the games that I'm really interested in. Those are the games that are going to be the most fascinating, because those are the games that are built from that level. I like that they have traps, but my game got a very good rating on theming, so maybe I'm biased. Fair. I mean, theming is important to me. I've said it before, but different judges have different fortes. Like Adrian's judgment on tech, on the programming of the game, is more important than mine. I'm a C# I'm a C# Unity programmer. I don't program Godot. I've only touched around it a little bit. Like, I probably have the least Godot experience of anybody on our staff. But you know what? That's good. If Adrian is rating the programming of a game, he's the expert on that. I'm an actor. I mean, that's who I am. I'm an actor. So my focus is I'm an actor and a game designer. So my focus was on theming and game design, because those are two things that I'm most confident, that I'm the most of an expert on, that I should talk about. Like, so I focused on responding to the ones that were the most appropriate for me to respond to. Does that make sense? And yeah, I had to judge everything because that's how we did it. But that's fine. But I was more critical and more focused on game design and conveyance and on theming, because those are the two that I felt deserve that I could judge the best, I guess. Like, if we're actually talking about artistic stuff, yeah, go Canopy. Canopy Games should be doing those votes. If you're talking about programming stuff, yeah, go to Adrian. If you're talking about design and if you're talking about design, conveyance, and theming, hi, I'll be glad to take a look at that, because that's that's kind of more my jazz. Got a lot of jazz, lots of jazz, so much jazz. I have no idea why we have so much jazz. So much water. Drink some food. Yes. Oh, there's going to go drink some bread. I think that's called beer. Like, isn't that basically what beer is? Isn't beer basically just like wheat tea? Kind of? I don't know. I don't drink beer. I haven't found what I'm doing with my life yet. Well, hang in there and find out what makes you happy. Some jazz is great. Some jazz can be great. Oh, I mean, favorite stream? Aw, thank you. I'll be doing... Yeah, I think I mentioned it before. I mentioned it earlier in the stream, but we're going to be doing a Hat in Time, and then we're going to be doing some Sniper Ghost Warrior, and I'm going to try to weave in some more obscure games from time to time. I'm going to try to weave in some games that people I'm fairly certain have never heard of, like the Ghost of Maple Creek that I was talking about before. Like, how many of these game designers here have never heard of hidden object games? How many people here don't realize that Artifex Mundi is a game company, and a really good one? Like, I mean, if go look up Artifex Mundi, like look up their games, and realize that there's an entire market that you've missed. You have missed an entire games market, not just a genre, an entire market. Because like their target audience, like there's always the joke about female gamers and not existing or it being such a small demographic, but you're wrong. Like go look at some of the Artifex Mundi games. They're phenomenal and they're focused towards female gamers and they're well received. Yeah, I'm gonna try and weave some Artifex Mundi games into the channel because I think that they deserve more attention for more mainstream gamers who haven't realized that they exist. Likewise, that's kind of like why I had the Gyromancer stream a while back. It's like, Gyromancer is a good game, y'all. You just need to recognize that this is a game that exists and, like, play it and realize that there's good things in here. Gyromancer really, really got super rough reception. Oh my gosh. Gyromancer is a game... Okay. Imagine a crossover between PopCap games, Peggle, Plants vs. Zombies, and Square Enix. The Final Fantasy people. Imagine what that mixture looks like. Imagine what a game crossing over a company that is famous for making match 3 tile gamers and a game that's, and hacking Square Enix. It's good. It's literally a match 3 tile Pokemon game where you match 3 to try to defeat to power up your monster to attack the enemies. It's a really good mechanic, but all the PopCap game fans were like, "Oh no, it's like a whole Final Fantasy core game. Like that's a whole looks kind of intense. I'm not into it." And all the Final Fantasy fans were like, it's PopCap. It's a casual game. I don't play casual games. That's not what I am. I'm not a casual gamer. I'm a hardcore gamer. Look at how hardcore and edgy I am. I played Call of Duty," and they ignored it, which is a shame because it really is just a good game. It really is just a good casual game that has some genuinely solid mechanics. It's a long stream when I start bringing up Gyromancer. Yeah, just focusing, playing games that are good that other people either haven't heard of or haven't had the opportunity to play is just kind of one of the main things I want to do on channel. Just bring people experiences. Which is what you're all doing as game designers, too. If you enjoy drawing despite your skill, then you do it until you have skill. Focus on your joy first. Good advice. Good advice. Let's go out and draw a banana. Right. Harpapondato. I was kind of curious if I would get a bunch of people in here from the whole hot tub stream thing, because I know like hot tub streams are a thing on Twitch, and they're mostly lewd, and the VTubers who are doing hot tub streams are mostly lewd VTubers, and I'm just like, I'm gonna do a hot tub stream because it's funny and it's a cool way of A, it's a good way of relaxing and unwinding after the game jam, and B, it's currently in social media, so free researching stuff. Drawing a banana? Real talk, still lifes, and human drawing is very important. Like, don't underestimate how important it is to be able to draw still lifes, because it will always be important and always be relevant. Like, that DeviantArt look? That look that you get when somebody draws nothing but anime because they want to be an anime artist, but then all their art looks exactly the same, like, and every single thing they do doesn't actually look like anime. It looks like a DeviantArt, post. I mean, somebody like that. If you don't know somebody like that, I'm not sure if you're telling the truth, to be honest. Or it's you. The reason being that those actual anime artists draw people. Those anime artists have drawn actual, genuine still lifes and people for dozens of years, and then they've adapted their style to the anime aesthetic, not the other way around. They didn't draw the anime aesthetic and then get people... they didn't do that first. Hot tubs are delightful. I actually do have a hot spring in the cave. It is a delight. Very comfortable. Oh yeah, money is difficult though. Money can be a thing. But you might have one nearby. Yeah, you know the DeviantArt look. You know the one I'm talking about. You know that art look that I'm talking about, and that's why it's somebody who has tried to draw either the American comic book style or the Japanese comic book style without actually learning how to draw. That's the end of the line. That's without actually learning how to draw first. Like that's actually my this statement. Oh, cool. I do like your profile picture. It is very cute. I will have a 3D cave model at some point in the future. This is not. This is the Monster Hunter Celiana gathering hub. Like this cave is just works for the purpose of a hot tub stream, because like this backdrop is kind of perfect for what I'm working on here. Because like, look at this. Isn't this pleasant? Isn't this just a delight? And I hope this doesn't break people's face if I try to do this. Let me know if this is uncomfortable. It's like, hold on, let me get over here. Look at how comfortable this is. Look at how delightful this is. Isn't it beautiful? But as far as a full cave tour, I can't exactly do that, because most of the rest of it is just the Celiana Gathering Hub, which is a Capcom. I mean, this whole place is Capcom copyright, if I'm being honest. But yeah, this doesn't fit my channel look or aesthetic, which is why I decided that, hey, no, I'm just gonna crop to here and make this my hot tub. Do you play D&D, and have you ever played a kobold? So here's my hot take for today, I guess. Hold on, let me. It's too high. There. So I have played a kobold in D&D, and it was very interesting. I like D&D, but it's not my favorite tabletop game. That's the honest truth, is that I like D&D, but it is not even in my top 3 or top 5 tabletop games. I have mostly played with other actors, because of course I have. I mean, so my experience is different than a lot of people's. I haven't had the horror stories of bad GMs and bad players. I have one horror story, but that's a whole, I'm not getting into that. but the kobold I played was named Kautzak, and what I did interesting on that character was change their morality. So kobolds are lawful evil. The way I interpreted that in a wholesome, non-party destructive way, because remember, it's a team game. You don't want to be party destructive. So what I did was I made it so the lawful evil aspect be that they didn't have a conscience. They just genuinely didn't understand the concept of right and wrong. So like they'd go into town and the guard would stop them, and like Kautzak would look up and like, okay, so do we kill him? I mean, he's in our way. Like, no, Kautzak, you can't kill him. That's a guard. But those other humans on the road back there tried to kill us too. I mean, tried to stop our way too, and we killed them. Oh, but those were bandits. But they tried to stop our way, and we killed them. Now, so he's trying to. Why don't we just kill him? Then we can go in. That's how I played the concept of that lawful evil aspect. Was they didn't have a conscience. They didn't have a moral compass at all. They just genuinely didn't understand the difference between right and wrong. And that made for an interesting character. That made for a interesting and dynamic character. Oh, hello, Cole. It is good to have you here. So yeah, that was the kobold I played in D&D. It was a really fun character to play. If you're playing in any tabletop game, I was actually discussing this a little bit. Like, there's okay. So Make your character unique, make your character interesting, and don't just line up the tropes. Like if you are playing a character, I recommend trying to make that character your own character instead of just like lining up a list of tropes of whatever race it is and playing that like and playing that. Instead, you kind of want to be playing a character who's interesting from the ground up. Now, and then someone else responded, "Hey, how about I just play what I want to and have fun?" And it's like, yeah, okay, you know what, that's fair. That is a fair point. I can't even argue with that. You know what? That's valid. But if you want to improve as an actor and as a role player, and to have cool ideas and concepts, well, that's how you do it. Is you need to make a character your own. You need to work on a new design for your character. ESPD but wholesome. um, you need to make on a design for your character that will make a character and not just a walking trope. Or flipping it over and having a walking anti-trope, like like the gnomish paladin that's like, I am incredibly powerful and strong. Like that's just taking the trope and flipping it on its head. That's not actually making your own character. Make your character interesting and unique, and make it flexible to change as well. Like don't get yourself locked in, but make the personality dynamic. If you can't play a human, you can't play a fantasy race either. You should be able to make a human character that's interesting and dynamic. Now, I roll, let's be honest, you rolled human in real life. I understand not wanting to play a human. I get it. But like as far as an actor and as far as, improving your role playing, you need to be able to play just like a regular human if you want to be able to improve your ability to role play and act in the future. So yeah, so that was an interesting character. The other character that I enjoyed a lot. Oh no, I already talked about that on the D&D discussion stream when we did the Forgotten Realms game, where that was just a chat. That ended up being a D&D chat stream. So I'm not going to get into all that now. That was like, oh yeah, this isn't going to be a full D&D stream. But yeah, that is my. Since we were talking about acting before, that's my take on D&D and acting. Make a character that's interesting. It's not easy. I mean, it's not easy at all. Few things that are worth it are. No, I think my favorite system coming is the one that's not out yet. My favorite system right now is probably Monster Care Squad, because I really, really like what they're doing with the design of that. Like the entire world, conceptually, is just really neat. Look up Monster Care Squad. It's on Kickstarter. I think I'll probably be calling the stream shortly. Yeah, I think this has been a healthy amount of stream. I've been having a good time, so I'm just vibing. I've just been vibing. I was planning on doing this for 2 hours, and we're in what now? I was planning on doing this for 2 hours, and we've been here for 3.5. I'm just vibing. Honestly, when I'm playing games, my attitude is still mostly the same. I'm still, me. So if you like this, if you like me being me, yeah, come out to the Discord, come out and subscribe and catch me on future streams. What I like to do is think of two things that are so far from most thoughts and smashing them together. That can work as long as you build the connective tissue in between that makes the character work. I mean, I don't want to be the actor that yells motivation at your face all day long, but I will if I have to. Like your character needs goals, and this is true for your game design characters too. Like your character needs goals. You need something to aspire to and something to path to. Your character isn't going to be great, and then when you start playing the game, you need to build up to something. You need to make your character have an arc, and it's not easy to have a character have an arc in an episodic, game or in a TV series. That's why most sitcoms don't bother. Or in a campaign where you go week to week, it can be hard to have an actual character development arc. That can just be something that's genuinely difficult to do. Yeah, the future theme of the Game Jam is going to be that all the games are going to be streamed by some combination of myself and my friends. And that's going to be awesome, and I hope everybody looks forward to that. Because I think that's going to really set us apart. Like, okay, good. That's going to set us apart as a game jam, right? Like, no other game jam does that. And it's awesome because people get an actual live feedback playthrough, which a lot of small devs might have never experienced. Like, a lot of small devs might never have actually had that experience of somebody playing their game without having their handheld, because it can be hard to step back. Like, okay, who was it? The guy who did the mining game. Was that you, Iron? Was that you, Iron Brandon? Oh, okay, they just left. They were too close to the game. They saw the game they made, and they said to themselves, okay, I know this works perfectly. I know how this works, therefore the players will as well. And then I got into the game and was like, I don't see how this works. And is that my fault? Maybe a little, but it's also a problem with conveyance. But he was so close to the game, he didn't realize that his game, the faults that were there. And I've seen that a lot. Like that, I don't want to pick on them because they do seem like they're a very cool person, and they seem like they're, they responded well to the to the criticism and the experience. But that's not uncommon. It's very easy to get so deep in your own game and know all the systems, and then be flummoxed and just be genuinely shocked to hand it to somebody else and say, "Okay, play this," and to be like, "Well, what do I do? What is all this then? What do I do here?" "Oh, no, you have to do this and this and this," and it makes perfect sense because you go here and this is up here, and the other person is standing there going, I don't. This is their first time seeing it. They don't know. They're confused. They don't understand what you're talking about. But because you've been with the game for so long, well, of course this goes here. Because you've been working on this for the past 16 months. Of course this goes here. You know that. It's so inherent to your knowledge that it can be difficult to step outside yourself and recognize that somebody else has an experience. That's another one. I didn't experience how hard my game ended up being. Yes. That is very, very common. Because you're an expert. You are a master when you're making the game. And you, by the time you release your game, have hundreds of hours of practice. So the early levels feel easy to you, and then someone else picks it up and goes, wait a minute, I haven't played this game before. This is crazy hard. That's actually a very, very common thing. You don't even know how common that is, especially for small indie devs. And then they a lot of them end up leaning into it and saying, "Oh yeah, I just made a hard game." Like, no. You at some level may have failed to conceptualize the difficulty curve. That's not the same as just as making a Dark Souls. But I'm not saying this is for you. I don't know which game you made, but it's very common for devs to not realize how difficult their game is because they're so used and so practiced in it that it makes sense to them. And that's part of why tutorialization is so hard, because you need to make the tutorial super easy for somebody who hasn't played the game before, which can be a difficult ask. Like, that can be difficult to step outside of your own expertise and your own practice, frankly, in making a game. Yeah, that's a fantastic point. I'm glad you brought it up, because yeah, that's very common and difficult to overcome. Accidental rage game. There you go. But yeah, I mean, that's not an Oh, you the one who did the hot dog game. I 1000% did you dirty on the art thing. I 1000% did you dirty on the art thing. I still feel bad about that. For anybody who doesn't know, when I was playing their game, I says to myself, I've seen that balloon before. Because I've worked with a bunch of different asset packs and different projects, and then I'm like, okay, I've definitely seen that balloon before. So they're using clip art, which is fine. I didn't, you can use clip art. You can use other assets, that you didn't make. And I was like, okay, no, this is just some clip art. Okay, sure. And I made that passing comment, and I gave them a little bit lower rating on art, thinking that they didn't make the assets. They called me out, and they were completely valid to. They were completely right to do it. They called me out on Twitter, like, privately, and were like, hey, no, I made that. And as soon as they said it, I'm like, "Oh, no, you're absolutely right. You absolutely are right, and that's my bad." Went back, I changed my rating, and I still feel guilty about it. But, like yeah, no, in that situation, it was just like, "Okay, okay, okay." I've worked with enough asset packs. I've seen, I usually have that feeling, like, okay, where have I seen these parts before? There's certain textures that I can recognize, like in a trailer, and be like, okay, I know where that's from. I did spend a minute, like an hour before submission, drawing it. Aw. Mhm. Yeah, I think that your game is a perfect example of a game where tutorialization would have made the game so much better. Like you had a decent foundation, you had a decent idea. It was just asking so much of the player from the word go, and that, you know what, that happens. That happens. It was a short game. The next game jam is going to be a bit longer, so that it includes 2 weekends for everybody. So it'll be 11 days. So everybody has a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday submission. Mhm. So like the next jam is going to have the double weekends, because like one concern that I have, and I've mentioned this before, is that I don't like the way that some game jam, especially the train jam is brutal at this, glorify crunch. Crunch is a huge problem in the industry, and in a lot of ways, a game jam glorifies crunch and says, "Hey, can you make a whole game really quick? Better go into full crunch mode right now." Like, I don't like that, but it's a sad reality of the industry. But I also don't want to glorify it. You know what I mean? So it's on us as the game jam hosts to figure out how not to. To figure out how we can still exist as a game jam while still giving people as much, a fair time, so they don't feel that they have to crunch for 72 hours to make their game. And it's a hard balance, because how do you do both? Like, how do you give people enough time to make a game and still be able to keep the hype train running? Because let's be honest, you can't keep the hype train running for a month. People are like, "Oh, they'll have a month-long jam." It's like, we can't do that. Like, there are month-long jams, and they're great. I think that's a good idea, but we're starting out. We need to keep the people interested and engaged and entertained from start of jam to end of jam. And I mean, asking for a small new jam in a new engine with new content creators. Yeah, no, a week is fair for us. Like that's as long as we can, um, keep it. Like, imagine an anime convention that went on for a month. You'd be bored of it after a week, maybe 2 weeks. Like, after 3 weeks, you'd start to get tired. Okay, you know what? Maybe that's a bad example. Never mind. but the idea is there. You see what I'm saying, I hope. So yeah, the next one's going to be 10 to 11 days in such a way that spans 2 Friday, Saturday, Sundays across all time zones, so that everybody who's working full time still has those 2 weekends to work on project if they want to enter. I think that will increase the quality of the games significantly, as well as the number of people who are willing to dedicate time to it. I have this awful habit of writing where I explain too much instead of letting the reader and audience make their own connections. Yeah. Show don't tell, right? Show don't tell. Tutorialization is always difficult, and yeah. I have a cat to feed. I should probably go do that. Time is it? 10:30. Yes. 8:30. Wait, how does time work again? Oh. Okay, never mind. I was wrong about time. But it's still a good time to end. We have been going for 4 hours. That is a good, healthy stream. Thank you, everybody who joined. I appreciate all of you. Every submission was a miracle. Like, I firmly believe, with the amount of time and effort that goes into it, that every game that actually was submitted was a miracle. And I'm glad I got the chance to experience all of them. So, yeah. I look forward to seeing. If you're just here for the game jam stuff, then I look forward to seeing you next game jam. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow for a hat in time, which is just going to be chill, comfy times. Yeah, 10 days is nice. No overworking, no blank nights. Yeah, better family work balance. Yeah, like I said, in a way that doesn't glorify crunch, because we need to keep the hype. We need to keep the jam active and interesting, while simultaneously um, putting putting a constraint on it. Yeah. And this has been fun. This has been a really fun stream. I will do some more chat streams. They'll mostly be about whatever you guys want to talk about. I mean, whether it's game design or development or, you know, what kind of cakes I eat. Which is actually pretty interesting because I am a carnivore. I don't actually have I have very limited options for cakes, but I can eat cheesecakes. If you make the cheesecake with stevia, then it's like stevia and eggs and cream cheese and vanilla, and it's like, oh wait, those are all things that I can have in my diet. Wait, what am I talking about again? Oh yeah, I was gonna go feed a cat. Okay, thank you everybody for joining. You all have a wonderful evening. Cheers!